Hey truckers, today we're seeing part 17 of Villain Tricks Heroines into Hating the MC. Let's dive into the video. The success of the dwarven race in the northern states served as a blueprint for other races, encouraging them to vie for territories that were once under the domain of the human race. Shortly after this event, a significant shift occurred in the eastern seas. The dwarven race from the northern states began equipping sea monsters with potent artifacts such as the high-powered chi blast cannon and densely powered lasers, along with other advanced weaponry. With these formidable tools, the sea monsters gained an upper hand and started to outmatch the human empires in the eastern sea region of the continent. The dwarven race followed a similar strategy in the southern region, this time aiding the barbarian race. They supplied weapons and armors to bolster the barbarian race's capabilities, empowering them to wage effective battles against the empires in the south. This vital intelligence reached Wang Jian, emperor of the everlasting mystical empire in the southern region. His empire held the leadership position in the coalition of 5 empires in the south. Engaging in a virtual meeting through the telephone artifact, the emperors deliberated over the pressing matter. Explore Ta-Ti stories at no/l/bin.cm. The dwarven race has taken to supplying weapons and armors to the barbarian race now. We must swiftly devise a plan to counter this or risk facing a situation similar to the Eastern Sea region, where the sea monsters have already started pushing back against our human empire forces, remarked Julius, the emperor of the Golden Sun Empire. Tan Yusheng, the ruler of the Jade Sea Empire, chimed in, "My soldiers have already clashed with these barbarian race members who wield these peculiar weapons capable of launching potent long-range attacks. What's more, each of these barbarian warriors dons a distinctive armor that not only allows them to endure attacks but also reflect them back." Wang Jian, seizing the moment, inquired, "Have you managed to analyze these weapons and armors? Given that you've captured some of these barbarian fighters, there must have been attempts to decipher the workings of these innovations." In response, Tan Yusheng expressed his frustration, his brows furrowing. "My most skilled team at the Talisman Union did attempt to unravel the secrets behind these weapons and armors. However, all the inscriptions on the talismans were written in the language of the dwarven race. Regrettably, no one in my empire possesses the ability to decipher these talismans." Wang Jian, sighing audibly, acknowledged the predicament. "I suppose that's to be expected. We lack the necessary resources like the metals required for crafting these items, the methodology for constructing the talismans, and the expertise required to replicate such innovations." The challenges they faced were indeed considerable. "What's our course of action then?" Ivan, the emperor of the Ebon Star Ascendancy, voiced his concern. Wang Jian interjected, "Continuing to engage the barbarian race while they possess those advanced weapons and armors will result in significant losses among our experts. Let's focus on reinforcing protective barriers across our territories. Don't hesitate to allocate precious resources to fortify our defenses and prevent these barbarians from infiltrating. In the meantime, I'll dispatch a small team to the northern states. Their mission will be to capture a couple of dwarves and bring them back." The other empires responded with approval, although they acknowledged the inherent risks. Julius inquired, "Emperor Wang, who will lead this expedition?" Wang Jian calmly answered, "I'll select capable members of my team to journey to the northern states." He continued, "During their absence, it's crucial that we intensify our efforts to recruit and train more experts within our empires. Support sects and organizations to foster rapid growth. Our vassal kingdoms should not be overlooked either. Hidden talents may arise from the most unexpected places within our territories. We cannot afford to be complacent or arrogant. The development of these talents is essential for our empires to thrive amidst this conflict against the barbarian race." The meeting concluded shortly after. Wang Jian turned to Su Xian, his first wife and the empress of his empire. He spoke softly, "It looks like I'll have to lead a group to the northern states to capture those dwarves and bring them back." Seated beside him, Su Xian responded in a gentle tone, "Jian, I don't want you to go. It sounds incredibly dangerous. I'm aware of the risks. But it's a task only I can handle. Swiftly capturing a couple of dwarves and returning, Wang Jian explained. I need you to stay here and manage the empire efficiently. Su Xian nodded reluctantly, her concern evident. Who will accompany you on this journey? I'll be accompanied by Han Shifeng, Lady Zhuran, Luo Qiu, and Yan You. With this team, we should be well prepared to handle any challenges along the way, Wang Jian replied earnestly. Seeing the sadness in Su Xian's eyes due to her inability to join him, Wang Jian decided to lighten the mood. He embraced her and whispered softly, I'll leave behind a clone using my devil bloodline, equipped with all my devil abilities. Keep in mind that it'll have limited qi, dispersing once its devil qi runs out. However, you can use it to communicate with me, as it will maintain a direct connection to my thoughts. Su Xian's expression brightened upon hearing this, and she returned the tight embrace, promising, I'll ensure the empire is well taken care of in your absence. I trust you completely. Remember to use Stella for commanding the beasts, Hong Meilin for the followers of the church, and Zyrithia to manage the devil clans, Wang Jian instructed with seriousness. Su Xian nodded in agreement, assuring him, I'll keep those details in mind. On that very same day, Wang Jian made the decision to visit his second sister, Wang Ying. It had been a couple of months since he had confined her to this prison. Throughout this time, Wang Jian had been visiting her regularly, providing updates about the world beyond her captivity. Observing her expressions during these visits, Wang Jian could easily discern the frustration that Wang Ying was grappling with. However, she was rendered powerless to change her circumstances, a state of helplessness that weighed heavily upon her. Adding to her vexation was the realization that her own mother, Luo Qiu, the former second queen of the empire, was collaborating with Wang Jian to integrate Wang Ying's faction into the empire's fold. With each passing day, Wang Jian tightened his grip over Wang Ying's once influential faction. Unbeknownst to Wang Ying, Luo Qiu and Wang Jian were engaged in an adulterous relationship. Luo Qiu had already fallen into the allure of this illicit affair with Wang Jian, rendering her willing to comply with his every wish. On this particular day, Wang Jian visited Wang Ying, but he wasn't alone. He was accompanied by Luo Qiu, Wang Ying's strikingly beautiful and alluring mother. In this moment, Luo Qiu was dressed in an exceptionally seductive attire, revealing a generous amount of cleavage, her enticing midriff, and her lustrous, milky white legs. Stepping into Wang Ying's cell, Wang Jian's hand rested provocatively on Luo Qiu's midriff, their gazes locked onto Wang Ying. The scene was overwhelming for Wang Ying, rendering her speechless with sheer astonishment. Do you know why I've come here today? Wang Jian's voice echoed through the dungeon cell, addressing Wang Ying with a mix of seriousness and a hint of amusement. It's to inform you that your mother has chosen to submit to me to free you. He turned his attention to Luo Qiu, a sense of dominance in his demeanor. Isn't that right, Luo Qiu? Luo Qiu's response was submissive, her gaze fixed on her daughter with a mixture of resignation and affection. Yes. Please free my daughter, and I will comply with your wishes, Wang Jian. In a sudden twist, Wang Jian's hand rose sharply, delivering an aggressive smack to Luo Qiu's shapely buttocks. Smack! The sound reverberated in the air, punctuating his words. What did you just say? Smack! His anger was palpable as each strike landed. How dare you address me so casually? Smack! Do you still believe yourself to be the second queen of the empire? No, you're nothing more than my personal plaything, he declared harshly. Smack! Each forceful strike caused Luo Qiu to release involuntary moans, a mix of pleasure and pain escaping her lips. Observing her mother subjected to such treatment ignited a fierce anger within Wang Ying. Frustration bubbled as she realized her inability to protect her mother from such degradation. You're vile, Jian. How could you sink to such despicable acts against someone who is like a mother to you? Wang Ying's words resonated with her anger and disbelief. I'm not getting bogged down by those small details. It's more of a give-and-take arrangement, you see. I'm putting her through this to set you free. And if you've got any ideas to tweak this deal, feel free to share. Wang Jian's voice held a chilling edge as he locked eyes with Wang Ying, his expression predatory. Wang Ying's determination shone through her words, spoken with unwavering resolve. If you release my mother right now, and let her return to her normal life, I'll agree to whatever terms you propose. Wang Jian's eyebrows lifted in curiosity, his gaze keen. Well, that's a rather intriguing proposition. You've definitely inherited your mother's looks. You're also quite the beauty, much like her. Turning his attention to Luo Qiu, his tone took on a wicked allure. What's your take on this arrangement, Luo Qiu? Are you on board with your daughter's suggestion? No. I can't accept your proposal, my daughter. I won't let you endure this for me. Luo Qiu's cries echoed in the chamber. Wang Ying's determination was unwavering as she addressed her mother, her voice steady. But I can't let you suffer in my place either. He's targeting you to get to me, and I won't let that happen. Wang Jian's grin widened, his gaze fixated on Wang Ying. Seems like you've made up your mind. Yes, Wang Ying responded firmly. Unexpectedly, Luo Qiu fell silent. She no longer attempted to sway her daughter's decision. Wang Jian interjected, his tone holding a touch of satisfaction. Your first task will be to oversee your faction within the empire and bolster our defenses against the attacks from the barbarian race. Now, I'll be heading to the northern states of the continent, accompanied by your mother. If you ever attempt to raise a personal force against the empire, I'll know. And let me tell you, my dear, you'll pay a hefty price. But first, I'll make sure to teach your mother a lesson. Wang Jian's grin turned sinister and lascivious. Promise me you won't touch my mother or cause her harm until I make such a mistake. Wang Ying's voice held a mix of concern and desperation. You have my word. After all, as you rightly pointed out, you're my target. I've got no reason to harm your mother as long as you play your part obediently. Wang Jian's grin twisted into a wicked expression. With a nod, Wang Jian declared, I'll take my leave now and let you two have a private conversation. True to his word, Wang Jian departed, leaving Luo Qiu and Wang Ying alone in the cell. Once he was out of earshot, Wang Ying fixed her gaze on her mother, speaking earnestly, Mother, please promise me you won't let him do anything to you on this trip. Trust me, you can't allow him to take advantage of you. Luo Qiu's response was steady. Do you really doubt your own mother so much? Just ensure you follow Jian's orders. The consequences won't be pleasant otherwise. I understand your aspirations, but once you're out of this confinement, you'll see how futile it is to stand against Jian. Wang Ying was taken aback by her mother's words, realizing that the situation outside must be even more dire than she had imagined. Mother and daughter continued to converse about various topics until Wang Jian eventually returned. Upon his return, he released Wang Ying from her restraints and guided her out of the cell. Utilizing his spatial teleportation skill, he whisked both Wang Ying and Luo Qiu away to their private palace. Once they were there, Wang Jian addressed Luo Qiu, his tone businesslike, prepare yourself. We'll be setting out tomorrow morning. F0 low new hapters at nov/el/bin/.com. Yes, I'll be ready, Luo Qiu reluctantly agreed, her options severely limited. With that, Wang Jian teleported away from their palace and materialized in Yang You's residence. Yang You had once held the title of Empress and was also the mother of the Crown Prince. However, like Luo Qiu, she had now become one of Wang Jian's personal subjects. In her opulent chambers, Wang Jian relayed the news of their upcoming journey to the northern states of the continent. Aware of the journey's length, he advised her to gather whatever she required for the trip. Completing the group were the final two participants, Han Shifeng, the respected leader of the Miracle Angel tribe and a prominent figure within the church, and Lady Zhuoran, the matriarch of the silver-tailed fox race. What united these women was their status as Wang Jian's personal companions. Having witnessed Wang Jian's darker inclinations, they were privy to the aspects of him that he concealed from others. As such, he felt no need to hide his more licentious side in their presence, as they served as outlets for his desires. With this unusual assembly now formed, the journey ahead held an air of mystery and uncertainty. During these days, the telephone artifact's reach extended to the eastern seas, the central region, and the northern states of the continent. Wang Jian harbored some concerns as the telephone artifact reached the northern states, where the Dwarven race had established its stronghold. The Dwarven race was known for its expertise in innovation, employing a wide range of resources to create new inventions. They were adept at working with metals, non-metals, and talismans, often combining these elements to fashion intricate mechanisms that were beyond the grasp of ordinary humans. Their proficiency in these tasks was so advanced that they had developed a keen understanding of the law of engineering, a principle governing the optimal utilization of resources. This law had multiple branches, with some dwarves excelling in crafting mechanical artifacts, while others specialized in combining mechanical and electrical techniques. Over the span of hundreds of thousands of years, the Dwarven race had made tremendous technological strides. This progress had enabled them to triumph over the empires in the northern states, capturing their Earth Dragon Chi roots and expanding their Dwarven-powered immortal domain. This domination was largely fueled by their mastery of sophisticated engineering and inventive prowess. Wang Jian embarked on his journey accompanied by 4 women, Han Shifeng, Luo Qiu, Yan You, and Lady Zhuoran. Employing his spatial movement technique, Wang Jian skillfully transported himself and his companions to the edge of the southern region's border with the central continent. Upon crossing the border, a potent surge of law-based suppression enveloped Wang Jian and the women, leaving them keenly aware of its presence. Only after traversing this boundary that separated the central continent from the southern region did Wang Jian grasp the nature of this formidable obstacle. He discerned that the barrier was a result of the harmonized forces of heaven and earth qi. This revelation illuminated the arduousness of bypassing it using spatial techniques. The telephone artifact, with its established spatial connection and shared spatial space, remained a unique exception, allowing it to traverse this boundary with ease. As the laws of the central region exerted their suppressive influence, Wang Jian and his 4 companions adjusted their movements accordingly. Anticipating such hindrances, Wang Jian had come prepared, bringing a fleet of wyverns with him. One of these majestic creatures bore a spacious carriage on its back, capable of accommodating Wang Jian and his entire entourage. The other wyverns formed a protective circle around the carriage, ensuring its safety from potential threats. This aerial procession of 7 wyverns soaring high above captured the attention of various factions residing within the central region. Inside the commodious carriage, Wang Jian and his companions relaxed comfortably, gazing out of the carriage windows to take in the picturesque scenery. Seated between Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran, Wang Jian found himself sandwiched between their alluring, enticing forms, creating a sultry atmosphere that was impossible to ignore. The wyverns, while not as fast as griffins, possessed impressive stamina. Wang Jian's preference for a smooth journey led him to choose these hardy creatures to carry them through the trip. After sharing some light-hearted moments with Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran, Wang Jian rose from his seat and approached Luo Qiu and Yan You. Taking a place between them, he placed his hands gently on their exposed midriffs. A sly smirk graced his features as he turned his gaze towards Luo Qiu. Luo Qiu, your daughter's innocence is quite endearing. She's fully committed to serving me, rallying her entire faction to safeguard the Empire from the barbarian threat, all to prevent me from laying my hands on you. Regrettably, or perhaps fortuitously, she remains unaware that you already hold the title of my discreet confidant. Kikik. Luo Qiu leaned in, her lips lightly brushing against Wang Jian's cheek and neck, an aura of sensuality enveloping her as her generous bosom grazed his arm and chest. In a submissive tone, she replied, "I am grateful that you granted my request to release my beloved daughter from that confining cell." Keck. Consider this a gesture of recognition for being such a good whore for me. Wang Jian's grin took on a wicked undertone. Before long, Wang Jian commanded the four alluring and seductive women to strip, and they encircled him with desire in their eyes. A wicked grin played upon Wang Jian's lips as he embarked on an intense round of intimate encounters with each woman. After nearly half a day of unbridled passion, Wang Jian finally called a halt. Now, the women lay sprawled on the carriage floor, their bodies adorned with loads of hot Wang Jian semen. Their expressions mirrored a blend of ecstasy, satisfaction, and fatigue. Continuing their journey, Wang Jian maintained his heightened spiritual sensitivity, scanning the passing villages and towns. Although many came and went, none proved to be of notable interest to his keen senses. The most powerful individuals he sensed were merely at the king realm level. However, just as they progressed, Wang Jian suddenly detected an imposing aura. Swiftly engaging his spiritual sensitivity, he encountered an unexpected barrier, a spirit that countered his probing. Realizing that this might be a form of immortal dominion, Wang Jian's demeanor grew solemn. Without delay, he instructed the four women, "Put on your clothes." Utilizing the laws of water and wind, he cleansed their bodies of any remnants of dirt, sweat, and semen. Following his orders, the women hastily donned elegant attire, a stark contrast to their recent state. After nearly half an hour of the spiritual energy clash between Wang Jian and the enigmatic Immortal Dominion spirit, a sudden surge of around hundreds of experts erupted from the Immortal Dominion. They swiftly closed in on Wang Jian's fleet of 7 wyverns. Reacting swiftly, Wang Jian emerged from his carriage, which was being carried by the massive wyvern. "Halt! Why are you attacking us?" Wang Jian demanded. "Who are you? How dare you intrude upon the realm of our dominion? Do you possess the command seal that grants you permission to traverse our dominion's skies?" An irate expert retorted. "Command seal? What's that? And was I truly intruding?" "My apologies if my presence caused any disruption," Wang Jian replied with courtesy. As the incensed expert appeared ready to reprimand Wang Jian further, a woman among them seemed to grasp the situation, and she chimed in, "You lack knowledge of both command seals and the rules here. From whence have you journeyed?" With a touch of pride, Wang Jian replied, "I come from the everlasting mystical empire of the southern region." The everlasting mystical empire of the southern region? The entire group of experts reacted with astonishment. It was only natural, given that the everlasting mystical empire had made ripples throughout the entire continent. This was primarily due to its effective handling of the relentless assaults by the barbarian race. Such achievements had led other empires in the southern region to align themselves with the everlasting mystical empire, making it the leader of their coalition. In many ways, the everlasting mystical empire stood as a representative of the entire southern region. That's right. I am Wang Jian, a council member of the empire. I've journeyed to the central region to explore historical sites and ruins, accompanied by my beloved companions. Wang Jian spoke with a composed demeanor. As if on cue, Lady Zhuoran, Luo Qiu, Yan You, and Han Shifeng gracefully emerged from the carriage, adorned in elegant attire. Discover new chapters at novelby.co. The men among the group couldn't help but gaze at the women with awe, their eyes filled with admiration. It was unsurprising, given that each of these 4 women possessed stunning beauty that was hard to ignore. Conversely, the women in the group exchanged similar glances of interest as they sized up Wang Jian. It was only natural, considering Wang Jian's striking handsomeness, which had the power to captivate hearts with every subtle gesture he made. Ahem! Wang Jian coughed out a bit. This allowed everyone to get out of their mews as they stared back at Wang Jian. The men in the group were feeling extremely jealous as they recalled that Wang Jian had called them as his beloved companions. This indicated that these women held a close relationship with him. Meanwhile, the women felt as though this was only natural for a handsome man like Wang Jian to have 4 women as his beloved companions. In fact, considering how even those insignificant ugly mortals or humans held a harem of dozens of women, a handsome man like Wang Jian ought to exceed them considerably. Moreover, if Wang Jian wanted, any one of these women would be ready to give herself away to him. This was how badly these women had been charmed by Wang Jian. Finally, the angry man spoke aloud, "You have broken the rules of the Wind Cloud House. You will need to follow us to the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion so that we can report your transgression. If the disciplinary elder forgives you, then you can go on your way." Wang Jian frowned upon hearing those words. He stared at the experts ahead of him and sensed that their aura was very powerful. There were nearly dozens of Emperor Realm experts with powerful aura, and the rest were King Realm experts. Moreover, at this moment, Wang Jian was experiencing suppression of the laws in the central continent. He felt that if he really fought against them, he would have to reveal his devil bloodline to them. And that wouldn't be ideal if he wanted to travel across the central region. Moreover, it might be a good opportunity to learn more about this region. Thus, Wang Jian spoke, "Please lead us. We will follow you." Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. Within the confines of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, 3 distinct domains exist, each tailored to the philosophies and practices of Wind Cloud House, Spirit Affinity Sect, and Heavenly Lotus Sect. These domains are interconnected by the ethereal energies of the immortal dominions, fostering a delicate equilibrium that mirrors the alliance between the 3 sects. Zephyr Zenith Terrace, Wind Cloud House. Perched upon the highest peaks of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, the Zephyr Zenith Terrace is a realm of perpetual motion and boundless freedom. Skies adorned with ever-shifting clouds provide a backdrop for Wind Cloud House's disciples to cultivate their mastery over wind-based techniques. The air is filled with a gentle yet invigorating breeze, enhancing the focus and clarity of those who train here. Pagodas and pavilions of white jade are scattered across the terrace, offering sanctuaries for meditation and study. The heart of the Zephyr Zenith Terrace is the Anemone Pavilion, where ancient scrolls detailing windcrafting methods are meticulously preserved. Ethereal Harmonia Grove, Spirit Affinity Sect. The heart of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion resonates with the spiritual energies of the Ethereal Harmonia Grove. Here, vibrant flora and luminous fauna coexist in perfect harmony, creating an ambience of serenity and connection to the natural world. Crystal-clear streams wind through groves of radiant trees, their leaves perpetually shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Spirit Affinity Sect's disciples gather in the tranquil glade, a central clearing where they engage in meditative practices and channel the realm's innate spiritual energies. An ancient tree known as the Whispering Elder stands as a testament to the sect's reverence for the interconnectedness of all life. Heavenly Lotus Sanctuary, Heavenly Lotus Sect. The Heavenly Lotus Sanctuary is a place of mystique and elegance, embodying the Heavenly Lotus Sect's dedication to refinement and enlightenment. Nestled within a secluded valley, the sanctuary is a symphony of blooming lotus flowers, their petals ranging in colors from ethereal whites to deep purples. Ponds adorned with floating lotus blossoms mirror the sky above, creating an illusion of heaven meeting earth. Heavenly Lotus Sect's disciples gather in the Lotus Pavilion, a structure of intricate beauty that serves as a center for scholarly pursuits and alchemical experiments. The heart of the sanctuary is the Crystal Lotus Pool, said to grant profound insights to those who gaze into its depths. Led by the Wind Cloud House guides, Wang Jian, accompanied by his group of women in the fleet of wyverns, arrived at the Zephyr Zenith Terrace, which belonged to the territory of the Wind Cloud House. The wyverns were entrusted to the care of a beast master, who pledged to provide them with nourishment and attention. Meanwhile, Wang Jian and his women were guided toward the disciplinary pagoda, where a considerable line of people had already formed. Here, wait your turn, a member of the group that had accompanied Wang Jian thus far instructed before departing. It was evident that this individual was bypassing the line and heading straight for the pagoda. Although this expert's queue jumping was quite blatant, the others in line refrained from causing a commotion. This indicated that the individual likely held a significant position within the sect. Judging by his age, attire, and demeanor, it was safe to assume he was an elder. Nearby disciples couldn't help but cast curious glances in Wang Jian's direction. Men's eyes were drawn to the four captivating women accompanying him, while women's gazes were fixated on Wang Jian himself. Wang Jian's lips curled into a faint smile as he signaled toward a cluster of women who appeared to be disciples of the Wind Cloud House sect. Eagerly responding to his gesture, the women hastened their steps, their curiosity ignited by the presence of this unfamiliar and exceptionally handsome man. Being called out to by such a charming individual naturally drew them toward him, eager to engage in conversation. "Hey there, I'm Wang Jian," he introduced himself in a friendly manner, his smile putting them at ease. "I come from the southern region. This is my first time in the central region, and I'm curious about a few things. Would you mind if I asked you some questions?" One of the women responded with enthusiasm, her eyes shining with excitement. "No worries at all. We'd be happy to share all we know about this region." With their willingness to engage, Wang Jian delved into conversation, gathering valuable insights about the central region. The discussion covered the 10 notable sects in the region and even touched upon the role of the Heavenly Court. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Wang Jian gained a clearer understanding of the central region's impressive might, revealing a stark contrast compared to the southern region. There was a total of 4 human immortal dominions within the entire central region. The one in which Wang Jian was standing inside was just one of them, known as the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. And in contrast, it was a pity that the southern region had no human immortal dominion. Interestingly, just as Wang Jian and his group of 4 women arrived in the central region, a startling development took place. The barbarian race launched coordinated attacks on 3 different empires simultaneously: the Jade Sea Empire, Ebon Star Ascendancy, and Amber Horizon Dynasty. Equipped with weaponry provided by the Dwarven race, these barbarian warriors swiftly breached the front lines of each empire. Despite the impressive defensive barriers erected by these realms, the onslaught of cannon fire shattered the defenses after only a few dozen volleys. It wasn't solely a matter of the barrier's strength or the quality of resources invested. The 3 empires had poured their resources and manpower into constructing these defenses, striving to fortify their realms against any threat. Interestingly, the Empire's talisman experts believed their defenses could repel attacks even from a fleet of Emperor realm experts, provided those experts didn't utilize their potent domains. This revealed a peculiar discrepancy: the issue lay not in the barrier's might, nor in the resources utilized. Rather, the attacks from the dwarven-powered cannons and lasers seemed to pinpoint a specific vulnerability of the barriers, an aspect that had eluded their reinforcement efforts. Inevitably, and as expected, the 3 empires reached out to the everlasting mystical empire, seeking aid and solutions to their predicament caused by the barbarian race's assaults. At the helm of the everlasting mystical empire was Su Xian, responsible for handling matters of such urgency. The pleas from the rulers of the besieged empires naturally reached her ears. Recognizing the importance of extending help, Su Xian saw this as an opportunity not only to shield the imperiled empires from the onslaught of the barbarian race but also to evaluate the capabilities of the newly acquired dwarven-powered weapons and armors. Su Xian's hesitance to test these unfamiliar weapons and armors on her own land was apparent. The situation now offered her a controlled experiment, where the empires in jeopardy became suitable testing ground. Presently, the everlasting mystical empire boasted an array of 4 distinct types of talisman barriers, each tailored to various needs. The first variant was the conventional human defensive barrier infused with elemental and standard chi. These barriers served as the foundation for the empire's defensive formations. The second type comprised defensive barriers formed from holy chi, intermingled with elemental or human chi. These were the protective measures embraced by the church, and with Hong Meilin's influential role in the church, commanding its experts was a manageable task. The third variation involved defensive barriers intricately woven with the skills of Stella and her beast companions. They harnessed the power of beast bloodlines, enhancing the barriers with specific elemental energies. These barriers could only be strengthened using their corresponding elemental chi. Additionally, Stella and the Silver-Tailed Fox clan possessed a knack for employing illusionary barriers, a useful tool against the barbarian race. Lastly, the Devil race contributed their own unique defensive barriers to the Empire's arsenal. With the Everlasting Mystical Empire hosting two prominent Devil clans, each clan possessed a distinct style of defensive barrier techniques. Seeing the ineffectiveness of the standard human defensive barriers against the onslaught of the dwarven-powered weapons, Su Xian made the strategic decision to disregard this type of defense. Instead, she turned her attention to the holy defensive barriers, the beastly defensive barriers, and the devilish defenses. Taking action, Su Xian dispatched specialized teams to aid each of the embattled empires, the Amber Horizon Dynasty, the Ebon Star Ascendancy, and the Jade Sea Empire. For the Amber Horizon Dynasty, a contingent of church members was assembled and sent forth. This team would be under the guidance of Hong Meilin, a figure of great influence within the church. The Ebon Star Ascendancy received a team of formidable beasts, including members of the Silver-Tailed Fox race. Leading this group was Stella alongside Bishi Shuyan, both empowered to guide their companions effectively. In the case of the Jade Sea Empire, a team of skilled devils was chosen to bolster their defenses. Zyrithia assumed leadership of this group, known for her prowess and command over the devilish techniques. Right now, Su Xian had entrusted her with a powerful weapon that greatly boosted her curse abilities. Well, not to the same level as that of the ancestral Nether Devil Scythe, but it was good enough for her current level. Su Xian placed her faith in these women, recognizing their considerable power and diverse skills. She believed that their contributions would prove vital on the battlefield against the encroaching barbarian race. As these events unfolded, Wang Jian found himself within the tranquil surroundings of the Zephyr Zenith Terrace within the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. Alongside his 4 women, he engaged in conversation with a group of youthful beauties who were disciples of the Wind Cloud House. In the course of their conversation, Wang Jian learned valuable insights about the central region. He discovered that the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion was one of the 4 prominent immortal dominions in this area. Within it, 3 distinct sects held their positions, each situated strategically to align with their teachings and cultivation practices. Besides the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, there existed 3 more immortal dominions. These included the Radiant Oasis Immortal Dominion, the Elemental Nexus Immortal Sanctuary, and the Primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion. Among this quartet of dominions, it was the Primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion that reigned supreme in terms of strength. This dominion was perched above a heaven vein, nestled within the sky. It also housed the illustrious Heavenly Court, a center of immense authority within the central region. The Primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion boasted unparalleled might even when measured against its peers. What set it apart was its unique ability to connect with all other human immortal dominions in the central region, effectively assimilating them. This extraordinary versatility made the Primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion a formidable entity. It was no wonder that not even the esteemed Jiangchen at the peak of his power managed to rattle the foundations of the Heavenly Court, nestled within the powerful Primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion. Moreover, it wasn't just its strength or versatility that made it so fearful. It was actually what added to the Primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion's fearful reputation was not just its strength and versatility, it was its remarkable longevity that truly struck terror into the hearts of many. Unlike other immortal dominions unable to generate their own immortal chi, the Primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion possessed a unique capability. It could swiftly convert the yin-yang energy present in nature and harness the heaven chi from the heaven vein on which it stood. This enabled it to rapidly produce its own immortal qi, allowing it to sustain itself perpetually, seemingly unfazed by the passage of time. With gratitude in his voice, Wang Jian addressed the group of young women, "Thank you for patiently explaining everything to us." One of the young women among them timidly piped up, "It was our pleasure. May I have your telephone's identity number?" Wang Jian raised an eyebrow at the question, nearly amused by the familiarity of the request. For a moment, it felt like a nostalgic echo from the modern world had reached him in this fantastical realm. "Sure thing. Just keep in mind that I'm often quite busy, so I might not be able to respond promptly," Wang Jian replied earnestly, a warm smile gracing his face. The girl who had asked for his number blushed furiously at his words and nodded eagerly. "Yes, I understand. I won't mind at all. 7 sit envelb/n. C/m for L testvels." However, it seemed his offer had ignited a flurry of requests among the other girls as well. "We'd love to have your number too. Don't forget about me. Count me in too." Their eager voices overlapped as each girl expressed her interest in connecting with him. Meanwhile, the young men who were disciples of the Wind Cloud House attempted to strike up conversations and ask for contact information from Wang Jian's four beloved women. Unfortunately for them, these men were met with icy glares that radiated coldness and disdain. Each of these women had a unique relationship with Wang Jian, one that had evolved from initial resistance to a complex bond forged through intimate experiences. While they had initially fought against the pleasure that coursed through their bodies, over time, that resistance had transformed into a shared desire that bound them to Wang Jian. Their minds and bodies were now intertwined with him to an extent that they couldn't fathom being with another man. The mere thought of another man touching them was unthinkable, igniting an instinctive protectiveness that glimmered in their stern gazes. As luck would have it, while Wang Jian engaged in conversation with the group of young women, the line gradually moved forward. Eventually, it was his turn, along with his 4 women, to enter the disciplinary pagoda. As they entered the pagoda, Wang Jian couldn't help but take in the spaciousness of the chamber. On either side stood elderly individuals positioned behind wooden partitions that lined the walls, creating a sense of order and organization. In the center of the chamber, a substantial table dominated the space. Seated behind the table were 3 elderly men, occupying imposing thrones that exuded an air of authority. Adjacent to one of the thrones stood another old man, his demeanor reflecting a mixture of displeasure and frustration. He was the individual who had guided Wang Jian to this disciplinary pagoda. With a composed expression, Wang Jian and his 4 women approached the table, ready to engage with the proceedings that lay ahead. As Wang Jian stepped into the disciplinary pagoda, he couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia. The atmosphere and setting reminded him of the medieval period dramas he had watched in his previous life on Earth. "Ah, so you're Wang Jian, and these are your companions," spoke the elderly man seated on the right, identified as Wu Long. "That's correct," Wang Jian replied in a casual manner. "Elder Zhao Tao informed me that you and your companions hail from the everlasting mystical empire and that you were traversing the celestial nexus immortal dominion on a fleet of 7 wyverns," Wu Long continued, his tone carrying a certain chill. The man standing to Wu Long's left was likely Zhao Tao. In a relaxed tone, Wang Jian responded to Wu Long's words, "The laws of the central region aren't widely known in the southern region. I'm accustomed to traveling by air, so I didn't anticipate any issues. Moreover, as far as I've come to understand, flying over immortal dominions isn't outright forbidden, it's just not a common practice. You claim ignorance of the laws, yet your statement seems to suggest otherwise," Chao Xin, an old man among the trio, interjected with a frosty tone. Unfazed, Wang Jian maintained his composure and replied, "I became aware of these regulations through conversations with the disciples who graciously shared their knowledge of the central region with us." "Oh, really? I'm sure you've also discovered that while flying over immortal dominions isn't against the rules, it's deemed unlawful for a fleet of beasts to traverse through them. If you were personally flying on your own sword or using elemental abilities, this might not have caused such a stir. However, you were riding on 7 King Realm wyverns, each possessing immense strength and the potential for significant destruction should they become uncontrollable. This is a risk we cannot afford to take, Huang Ji, the third member of the trio, calmly explained. He seemed to be the most intelligent and reasonable among them, likely holding a superior rank since he occupied the central seat. Wang Jian locked his gaze on Huang Ji, studying him carefully. Huang Ji's points were valid, but Wang Jian could have countered them if he wished. After all, the wyverns had been flying at such a high altitude that they would have been virtually unnoticed by the populace of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. However, Wang Jian saw little value in engaging in a debate or argument. Instead, he chose to let it rest. I acknowledge your point. It's true that my lack of knowledge about the region might have led me to make an error, Wang Jian admitted. The trio of seated old men were somewhat taken aback by Wang Jian's lack of resistance. They had anticipated a prolonged dispute, knowing that young men like Wang Jian often didn't yield easily when they believed themselves to be in the right. Zhao Tao, the elder standing beside Wu Long, frowned. He had been counting on Wang Jian's error not being significant enough for severe punishment. He had hoped that Wang Jian would react rudely or defiantly, providing an excuse for the disciplinary committee to impose a heavy penalty. Once Wang Jian had been penalized, Zhao Tao intended to exploit his reputation as a respected elder within the Wind Cloud House's disciplinary pagoda to make contact with Wang Jian's 4 alluring companions. Unfortunately for Zhao Tao, Wang Jian had thwarted his sinister plans with his unexpectedly calm response. Huang Ji chimed in, since you've acknowledged your mistake and considering it's your first time here from the southern region, unaware of our laws, the disciplinary committee will clear your name. You can take your wyverns with you. Additionally, we'll provide you with a visitor command seal from the Wind Cloud House, allowing you to stay within our territory, the Zephyr Zenith Terrace. If you intend to explore other areas of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, you'll need to obtain a pass from the branches of the 2 sects within the Zephyr Zenith Terrace. They must approve your request before you can venture into their regions, Huang Ji concluded, a friendly smile gracing his lips. Wang Jian raised an eyebrow, surprised by the lenient outcome, and then nodded appreciatively, thank you. He and his 4 companions then exited the disciplinary pagoda. Once they were out of earshot, the trio of elders engaged in a hushed conversation. Why did you show him such leniency, Elder Huang? Wu Long inquired, curious about the unusual turn of events. True, you're usually the one who sticks to the rules most rigorously, Chao Xian added casually. Huang Ji responded, his tone measured, I had a feeling that punishing him might lead to undesirable consequences for us. Chao Xian scoffed, come on now, you're reading too much into it. Perhaps. But I didn't want to risk escalating matters over something relatively minor, Huang Ji calmly explained, his gaze steady. In the meantime, Wang Jian and his 4 women were roaming around the Zephyr Zenith Terrace. In reality, Wang Jian had a pressing desire to head northward, venturing into the northern states of the continent. His intention was clear, he aimed to abduct a couple of dwarves. The purpose behind this audacious plan was to harness their unparalleled expertise in talismans, a crucial step in crafting countermeasures against the formidable dwarven-powered weaponry and armor. Wang Jian was equally eager to further expand his repertoire of artifacts, much like the telephone he had previously introduced. But this time, the knowledge and proficiency of the Liu family were simply inadequate. To achieve his goal, he recognized the indispensable need for the experience and wisdom of the dwarven race. However, despite the brewing tension brought about by the dwarven race's weaponry sponsorship to the barbarian race, which risked tipping the scales in favor of the barbarians within the southern region, Wang Jian held back from hastening his journey northward. His decision wasn't guided by ignorance, but by strategy. He perceived the inherent value of the central region on the continent, the very nucleus of power and influence. He acknowledged that focusing his efforts here would yield greater dividends in the long run. Moreover, Wang Jian had a shrewd plan. He envisioned seizing control over the central region, the most potent and influential domain on the continent. By establishing his dominance here, he could effectively limit the dwarven race's distribution of weaponry to the barbarian race through the central region. In doing so, he would alleviate the threats looming over the empires in the southern region, ensuring they could deal with the encroaching barbarian race. So, Wang Jian secured a room at an inn and decided to make the Zephyr Zenith Terrace his temporary home. He had purchased a single, remarkably spacious room that could comfortably accommodate both him and his entourage of women. Obtaining the room was a breeze, as the herbs he had brought from the southern region were highly sought after in this area. With the Chaos Essence bead in his possession, he had the ability to conjure these herbs at will, making the transaction virtually cost-free. Word of Wang Jian's prolific herb dealings quickly spread throughout the Zephyr Zenith Terrace, solidifying his presence in the locale. At this moment, Wang Jian was unwinding in the tranquility of his room, accompanied by his 4 women. He was reclining with his head resting on Han Shifeng's lap, while Luo Qiu and Yan Niu flanked him on either side, fanning him to alleviate the warmth. In the midst of it all, Lady Zhuoran infused the atmosphere with an aura of sensuality through an exotic and enticing dance. Wang Jian savored the moment, a contented smile gracing his lips. After a while, he motioned for Lady Zhuoran to conclude her dance and take a seat nearby. With a serene smile, he inquired, "So, what are your impressions of this place?" "It feels almost heavenly. The spiritual energy here is incredibly potent and pure, surpassing anything I've experienced even in our own empire. Oddly enough, despite not being proficient in wind element, I sense the laws of wind more readily here. The laws of water element are equally accessible, allowing me to tap into perhaps 3 or even 4 times my usual strength," Lady Zhuoran exclaimed with excitement. Find uptedevils on n/v/elben.co/m. Han Shifeng chimed in, her expression contemplative. "My holy and demonic attributes feel relatively unchanged, but my lightning attribute seems to have diminished slightly. I estimate I can only wield about half or even 1/3 of my usual strength here." Luo Qiu's voice followed, thoughtful and reflective. "The size and scale of the sects here are remarkable, dwarfing those in our own empire. It's as if their communities are built around these sects, and their dedication to cultivation is both impressive and slightly overwhelming." Yan Niu offered her perspective next, her tone thoughtful. "The immortal dominion being divided into 3 parts, with the sects coexisting without large-scale battles between their experts, showcases the emphasis on tournaments and resource allocation. It's a level of cooperation and respect not commonly seen in our empire." Wang Jian listened intently to each woman's perspective, absorbing their insights into the new environment they found themselves in. While Wang Jian attentively absorbed his women's thoughts, he found himself largely in agreement with their observations. "Actually, I have a question, husband," Han Shifeng interjected. "Top VL updates on n/o/v/lb/in.com." Wang Jian responded with a warm smile, "Sure, my dear. What's on your mind?" Han Shifeng continued, "You must have noticed that creepy old man who was eyeing us. And then he led us to that disciplinary pagoda for seemingly no reason. Why haven't you taken any action against him?" Wang Jian replied playfully, turning the question back to her, "Why do you think I haven't taken action?" "Aw, I knew it! You've done something, haven't you? Tell me, what is it?" Han Shifeng asked with a touch of excitement. Meanwhile, Lady Zhuoran, Luo Qiu, and Yan Niu leaned in, their curiosity evident. They too were eager to know what Wang Jian had up his sleeve. Wang Jian's smile turned mysterious as he answered, "You'll find out tomorrow." "But I want to know today." Han Shifeng pouted, attempting a cute and playful expression. With a mischievous glint in his eyes, Wang Jian replied, "Well, if you can satisfy my desires, I might just spill the secret." Han Shifeng retorted with a playful snort, "I can't do that alone, you know." Wang Jian's grin widened, "Then why not ask for assistance?" Understanding his implication perfectly, Han Shifeng, Lady Zhuoran, Luo Qiu, and Yan Niu exchanged knowing glances, realizing what Wang Jian was suggesting. Soon, the four women embarked on a passionate mission to extract the secret from Wang Jian by indulging in intense lovemaking with him. Despite their efforts, taking turns to fulfill his desires, they found themselves unsuccessful. Almost 13 hours had elapsed, leaving only Wang Jian still awake and aware. Despite their inability to extract the information they craved, the act of lovemaking itself brought pleasure, joy, and excitement to all participants. Since the pleasure and excitement had been great, Wang Jian finally decided to share the coveted secret with them. Amid their exhaustion and satisfaction, Wang Jian spoke softly, "When I initially encountered that man, I subtly implanted a tendril of my demonic shadow within his body. Then, under the cover of darkness, I triggered the demonic shadow's activation. By now, his body must have been torn asunder by the relentless power of the shadow. The experts will likely discover the demonic shadow and detect traces of storm elements in it." He continued, his voice holding a sense of finality. "The only devil clan that can harness the abilities of the demonic shadow and storm elements is the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan. This act will lead them to suspect that it was this clan aligned with Jiangchen who has infiltrated the Immortal Dominion and orchestrated the demise of that creepy old man." Unfortunately for the four women, the truth they eagerly awaited was revealed only after they had all fallen unconscious from their passionate efforts. At that moment, Wang Jian initiated contact with Su Xian, keen to receive updates on the current state of affairs in the everlasting mystical empire and address any arising complications after his departure. Su Xian shared the latest developments with him. She described how the barbarian race had orchestrated simultaneous attacks on three prominent empires, the Jade Sea Empire, Amber Horizon Dynasty, and Ebon Star Ascendancy. In response, she had dispatched teams to these territories to provide protection against the impending onslaught. Wang Jian expressed his approval of her actions, saying, "For the time being, we'll safeguard them. However, ensure you also prioritize the expansion of Lady Xia's Elysian Blossoms organizations across the other empires." "Of course, husband. So, how's everything progressing on your end?" Su Xian inquired with curiosity. In response, Wang Jian recounted the events that had transpired during his journey, from the encounter with the creepy old man to the fascinating details he had learned about the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion and the Central Region as a whole. Once the exchange was complete, they severed the connection between their telephone artifacts. The following day dawned, and Wang Jian and his group of four women found themselves amidst a tumultuous uproar that had swept across the entire expanse of the Zephyr Zenith Terrace. An atmosphere of terror hung in the air, permeating both the disciples and elders of the sect. The cause? The discovery of a lingering trace of demonic shadow within the tranquil premises of the Zephyr Zenith Terrace. The fact that this particular demonic shadow had managed to elude the perceptive gaze of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion spirit struck fear into the hearts of all who heard. It was an unsettling notion, to say the least. But that wasn't all. This sinister entity had not only remained hidden, but it had also wrought devastation. It had ruthlessly slain Elder Zhao Tao, a respected figure within the Wind Cloud House. Zhao Tao, boasting the prowess of a second-stage Emperor Realm cultivator, had earned his reputation through his formidable combat skills, earning him a coveted spot within the disciplinary committee of the Wind Cloud House. The news of such a gruesome incident had sent shockwaves through the Zephyr Zenith Terrace, leaving everyone grappling with a mixture of dread and astonishment. As Wang Jian had anticipated, it didn't take long for the experts within the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion to cast their suspicions upon the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan. The sudden appearance of the elusive demonic shadow only fueled these suspicions. In response to the prevailing sense of urgency and apprehension, the three dominant sects of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion promptly called for an emergency assembly. The aim was clear: to devise a comprehensive strategy to address this newfound threat. After intense deliberation, a decisive plan was forged. The three regions of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion would be armed with specialized devil sensory artifacts. These devices, constantly active, had the ability to detect the presence of devils within a radius of 10 kilometers. Notably, they could also facilitate the tracking and locating of these malevolent entities. However, the upkeep of these artifacts required the daily consumption of rare holy crystals. A minor hurdle presented itself in the form of acquiring these precious resources. As the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion lacked the native production of holy crystals, the three sects were compelled to engage in trade with other immortal dominions, bartering for these essential materials. Despite the constant vigilance enforced by the devil sensory artifacts, Wang Jian astutely observed that his mastery over the laws of shadow enabled him to remain undetected, shielding his devil bloodline even from these advanced sensing devices. This revelation bolstered his confidence in his shadow manipulation skills. However, Wang Jian and his four women didn't remain passive observers. They actively gathered intelligence about the three major sects within the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. Their focus extended to sect masters, elders, and other key figures. The wealth of information they acquired painted a vivid picture of the power dynamics within the Immortal Dominion. The Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion was composed of three prominent sects, each boasting nearly equal strength. The Spirit Affinity sect, with its age-old legacy, was the oldest among them, while the Heavenly Lotus sect was the most recently established. Across these sects, the count of Emperor Realm experts ranged from 15 to 20, a formidable force by any measure. Ancient sects like the Spirit Affinity sect held 20 Emperor Realm experts, while the newer Heavenly Lotus sect boasted 15. On average, each sect possessed around 18 Emperor Realm experts. When extrapolated across all 10 major sects of the Central region, this cumulative count exceeded a staggering 180 Emperor Realm experts. This figure was nothing short of daunting, particularly when compared to the comparatively meager total of 50 to 60 Emperor Realm experts within the human race of the southern region. What made the Central region's Emperor Realm experts even more formidable was their superior mastery of the laws due to the support provided by the Immortal Dominion. This advantage set them apart from their southern region counterparts, who lacked such a resourceful environment. Wang Jian's mind raced with possibilities as he contemplated the idea of gaining influence over key sects within the Immortal Dominions. Among the trio of sects in the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, the Spirit Affinity sect and the Heavenly Lotus sect stood out due to their predominantly female membership. These sects specialized in refining their spirit, mind, and physical form, while drawing power from the natural energy around them. This unique approach not only magnified their beauty but also bestowed them with an ethereal grace that made them exceptionally appealing. Wang Jian. Given Wang Jian's particular inclinations and his love for beauties, these sects were practically tailor-made for his plans. The allure of the gorgeous women from the Spirit Affinity sect and the Heavenly Lotus sect was enough to pique his interest and lead him to consider integrating them into his influence. However, Wang Jian was well aware that his approach needed to be strategic and subtle. Unlike the Lotus Blossom sect, where a hierarchical structure enabled easy control, the Spirit Affinity sect and the Heavenly Lotus sect operated differently as they had a decentralized structure. Wang Jian recognized that forcing himself upon the respected women of these sects would be foolish because it would trigger the spirit of the Immortal Dominion to intervene and deal with him as a threat. He needed to employ his charm and wiles to win them over in a more nuanced manner. Fortunately, this sort of thing was his specialty. Conquering the affections of the enchanting women from the Heavenly Lotus sect or the Spirit Affinity sect wasn't going to be a walk in the park like it was with the female disciples of the Wind Cloud House sect. Their path was obstructed by several challenges. Foremost, gaining entry into the domains where the members of the Spirit Affinity sect and the Heavenly Lotus sect resided proved to be quite a hurdle. Wang Jian took a moment to share this news with his four companions, Lady Zhuoran, Luo Qiu, Yin Yo, and Han Shifeng. Their reactions were far from astonishment, for they were well acquainted with Wang Jian's licentious activities. In fact, what truly surprised them was that Wang Jian had yet to take action against those captivating women. With a grin playing on his lips, Wang Jian leaned casually against a silk-adorned column. "Ladies, it seems our next course of action will require a more sophisticated approach." Han Shifeng's laughter filled the room. "And I assume you're not merely looking to expand your alliances?" Wang Jian's response was a playful nod. "Indeed, but these extraordinary women demand a more intricate strategy." Han Shifeng tilted her head, her gaze keen. "So, you're saying it won't be as straightforward as your usual antics?" A chuckle escaped Wang Jian as he appreciated their keen insight. "You're absolutely right. These situations require finesse, patience, and meticulous planning." Lady Zhuoran's eyes sparkled with amusement and intrigue. "And what do you have in mind, my dear?" "Zhuoran, I've got a plan for you. Head over to the Spirit Affinity sect." "Shifeng, you'll be going to the Heavenly Lotus sect. Your skills and the fact that your women should make gaining entry to their territories relatively smooth. Once they witness your expertise in their respective fields, they'll likely treat you with utmost respect. Your mission is to blend in, gather crucial intel about them, and keep me informed." Wang Jian addressed them earnestly. "Got it!" Han Shifeng responded promptly. "Understood," Lady Zhuoran confirmed. Wang Jian's smirk widened, and he added playfully, "As for the finer details, I'll keep you updated as things unfold. Rest assured, you won't be separated from me for too long." Han Shifeng's delight was evident as she squeezed him in a hug, exclaiming, "Sounds great." The subsequent day marked the implementation of this phase of their strategy. Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran met up with delegates from the Heavenly Lotus sect and the Spirit Affinity sect, respectively. True to Wang Jian's predictions, both women were welcomed. The tests administered by the delegates, using unique rocks to assess their spiritual potential and holy attributes, were nothing short of astonishing, even bordering on legendary. The subsequent day brought esteemed visitors to Wang Jian's expansive inn room within the Zephyr Zenith Terrace. The sect mistresses of both sects had arrived to pay him a visit, as Wang Jian had anticipated. Wang Jian came face to face with the formidable sect mistresses, who exuded an overwhelming aura intended to suppress him. However, their attempt to crush him as a display of power was met with his resilient resistance. As he held his ground against their combined pressure, it became evident to the sect mistresses that Wang Jian wasn't an ordinary expert, his strength was exceptional. Fairy Bai Xia, the sect mistress of the Spirit Affinity sect, broke the icy silence, her voice cold and demanding, "Identify yourself." "I am Wang Jian, hailing from the everlasting mystical empire in the southern region," Wang Jian responded composedly. Both women narrowed their eyes upon hearing his words, intrigued by his background. Fairy Ruali, the sect mistress of the Heavenly Lotus sect, spoke calmly, getting to the point, "Daoist Wang, allow me to be direct. We've been informed that a woman named Han Shifeng is dwelling here. She visited the Heavenly Lotus sect's embassy in Zephyr Zenith Terrace, expressing her interest in joining our sect. Her examination results have been nothing short of extraordinary. I'm here personally to extend an invitation for her to join." Fairy Bai Xia continued, her tone equally composed, "I'm here for a similar purpose, Daoist Wang. The woman I seek is Bishi Shuyan, who takes the form of a 5 silver-tailed fox beast and is currently in human form. She too visited our Spirit Affinity sect's embassy and expressed her intention to join my sect." Wang Jian's smile broadened as he listened, his eyes gleaming with amusement. He responded, "The women you've mentioned happen to be my wives. I'm rather reluctant to part with them." Fairy Bai Xia attempted to sway him with a persuasive tone, "I implore you to reconsider, Daoist Wang. Bishijuran's test results indicate an exceptionally expansive spiritual energy reservoir and an astonishingly diverse range. With proper nurturing, her potential is staggering. I promise you, within 10 years, she'll break through to the Emperor realm. The notion of advancing from the King realm to the Emperor realm within a decade was indeed a monumental claim. Fairy Ruali, not to be outdone, spoke with equal conviction. Take a moment to rethink your decision regarding Han Shifeng, Taoist Wang. Han Shifeng possesses an uncanny affinity for the holy attribute, enabling her to harness impressive healing abilities. Her bloodline spirit, Holy Angel Amara, grants her powers akin to a true angel. If you allow her to join my sect, I assure you she'll receive one of the true inheritances of the Archangel Jophiel. This will enhance her holy attribute and evolve her bloodline spirit to the level of an archangel, which will accelerate her path toward the Emperor realm. Fairy Ruali's claim was even more extraordinary than Fairy Bai Xiao's, leaving Wang Jian to ponder the weight of the choices ahead. Up-to-date OVLS on OVL.cm. Can I accompany them or at least visit them occasionally? Wang Jian asked with curiosity. Fairy Bai Xiao's response was swift and chilly, I'm afraid not. Men are not permitted within the Spirit Affinity sect's territory. Fairy Ruali echoed the sentiment, her tone equally firm. The same holds true for our sect. Wang Jian's brow furrowed, but he posed his next question, can I invite them to visit me here in the Zephyr Zenith Terrace? Both women responded in unison, no. It was Fairy Ruali who explained, please understand, Taoist Wang. Once Han Shifeng becomes part of my sect, she will be immersed in her cultivation and training, delving into various legacies to enhance her skills. Interrupting that process would hinder her progress significantly. Wang Jian's frown deepened as he contemplated the situation. He turned his gaze to the two women in question, Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran. Do you truly wish to go? Keep in mind, we might not be able to meet each other for quite some time, Wang Jian inquired, gently touching their faces with his hands. Yes, husband. We want to grow stronger. We don't just want your protection, we want the ability to protect you as well. This is the path we choose. Please allow us, Han Shifeng spoke passionately. Lady Zhuoran echoed her sentiment with equal fervor, rest assured, we'll return once we reach the Emperor realm in our cultivation. With their declarations, the two women stepped closer, embracing Wang Jian tightly. Then, one by one, they kissed him on the lips. Han Shifeng led the way, her kiss charged with an ardent intensity. Then, it was Lady Zhuoran's turn, her kiss just as passionate. As they witnessed the two women kissing Wang Jian with such intensity, both Fairy Bai Xia and Fairy Ruali frowned momentarily, though they maintained their composure. The display of affection between these women and Wang Jian stirred some unease within them. Nonetheless, they concealed their feelings, silently resolving to sway these newcomers within their sections. Their ultimate goal was to sever the emotional bond between these women and Wang Jian, persuading them to redirect their loyalty toward their respective sects. Unbeknownst to the sect mistresses, their decision to admit these two women would later prove to be a colossal misstep in their lives. What the sect mistresses remained oblivious to was that every aspect of today's events had unfolded precisely according to Wang Jian's meticulous plan. After the heartfelt conversation, Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran left Wang Jian's room, accompanied by the two sect mistresses. As expected, the news of the sect mistress's visit stirred a commotion throughout the Zephyr Zenith Terrace. The unexpected appearance of these high-ranking figures created quite a buzz. Before long, the sect master of the Wind Cloud House and several other Emperor Realm experts arrived at Wang Jian's abode. Their purpose for visiting was twofold. First, they now recognized Wang Jian's status as an Emperor Realm expert, and thus, felt he deserved utmost respect and courtesy. Furthermore, there was hope that he might consider joining their sect, bolstering its strength. The recent loss of Elder Zhao Tao, a fellow Emperor Realm expert, had dealt a blow to the Wind Cloud House's prowess. The leaders of the sect believed that if Wang Jian were to join their ranks, it could potentially compensate for this loss and elevate the sect's standing. Intrigued by their visit, Wang Jian entertained his esteemed guests, engaging in discussions that explored the potential for collaboration. He tactfully considered their proposals, his demeanor amiable and open. Wang Jian then presented one condition to joining the Wind Cloud House sect. Wang Jian's stipulation for joining the Wind Cloud House was clear. He sought the sect's assistance in stemming the flow of dwarven race weaponry and armor to the barbarian race in the southern region. Given the strategic location of the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion to the south of the central region, it had the potential to control the passage between the two regions, making this condition plausible. However, the Wind Cloud House's leaders didn't immediately acquiesce to Wang Jian's terms. Instead, they posed a counter-condition of their own. The sect had been formulating plans to launch a surprise attack on a formidable devil nest situated near their territory. This nest was notorious for its immense size and harbored an uncertain number of Emperor Realm experts, posing a significant threat. The Wind Cloud House's proposition was that Wang Jian should commit to aiding them during this ambush. As the Wind Cloud House presented their counteroffer, Wang Jian's gaze sharpened, his mind processing the implications of their request. New chapters will be fully updated at novl/bin.com. After a brief moment of contemplation, he saw the logic behind their condition. Acknowledging the mutual benefit, he readily accepted their terms. It seemed only fitting that he should contribute to the sect that he intended to join. With an air of determination, Wang Jian agreed to support the Wind Cloud House in their endeavor to vanquish the menacing devil nest. In return, the sect's leaders assured him that they would effectively prevent the passage of dwarven weaponry and armor through their territory, thwarting any aid to the barbarian race in the southern region. As agreements were sealed and promises exchanged, the intricate web of alliances and strategies was woven, laying the groundwork for the forthcoming series of critical events. Following the meeting with the Wind Cloud House leaders, Wang Jian employed his telephone artifact to reach out to the members of the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan, who were situated within the Silver Devil Azura Dominion. Is it your clan that occupies the Devil Nest near the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion? Wang Jian inquired. No, our devil nests are concentrated in the vicinity of the Ethereal Mirage Immortal Sanctuary, which lies to the eastern side of the central region and is linked to the eastern seas of the continent, clarified the leader of the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan within the Silver Devil Azura Dominion. Then could you find out which clan's devil nest is positioned near the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion? Wang Jian requested. I'll need a few moments to gather this information from my subordinates and spies. I'll get back to you shortly, responded the leader of the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan. Sure, take your time, Wang Jian agreed. After a brief wait, the leader of the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan returned with the details. I've consulted my subordinates and spies. The Devil Nest near the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion is predominantly occupied by the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan, along with some smaller devil clans under their sway, the leader reported. Thank you for the information, Wang Jian acknowledged before ending the communication. His next point of contact was Cyrithia, the heiress of the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan. Their relationship was intense and intimate, characterized by both closeness and sensuality. In his conversation with Cyrithia, Wang Jian outlined his plan. Cyrithia, I need you to utilize your telephone artifact to contact the leader of the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan in the Silver Devil Azura Dominion. Convince him to sell the Devil Nest near the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion to the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan. Let him know that he can set the price as low as possible to entice the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan into making the purchase. Cyrithia expressed her concern, her brows furrowed. But why? I'll need a compelling reason to persuade him to carry out such an audacious act as giving away one of our clan's devil nests to a rival clan. Tell him that the Wind Cloud House is planning an ambush on that nest. If he agrees, he can weaken the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan while safeguarding the strength of his own clan. That should be a convincing incentive, Wang Jian explained. After a sigh, Xerithia responded, I'll do my best to convince him, though it won't be easy. Excellent, Wang Jian replied with a self-assured smirk. As their conversation was about to conclude, Xerithia's voice softened. When will you be coming back? I really miss you. Wang Jian's expression turned playful as he replied, Soon, I promise. And once I'm back, I'll make sure to properly reward you for your efforts. Xerithia's excitement was evident as she purred, I can't wait for that. With their conversation finished, Wang Jian disconnected the artifacts, his plan set in motion. Following Wang Jian's instructions, Xerithia engaged in a persuasive conversation with the leader of the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan. Surprisingly, she managed to sway him to relinquish their clan's devil nest to the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan. Wang Jian's reason for targeting the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan specifically was strategic. He aimed to diminish Jiang Chen's faction's influence within the devil clans. However, he was cautious not to provoke Jiang Chen's attention, which is why he avoided targeting the Heavenly Azura Devil clan, a move that might pique Jiang Chen's direct interest. Wang Jian focused on weakening the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan instead. Despite being a prominent clan aligned with Jiang Chen's faction, the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan wasn't as pivotal as the Heavenly Azura Devil clan. This allowed Wang Jian to execute his plan without drawing Jiang Chen's personal involvement. In this way, Wang Jian skillfully achieved his goal of weakening Jiang Chen's devil faction. As time continued to pass swiftly, the fateful day finally arrived when the Wind Cloud House resolved to launch an assault on the Devil Nest near the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. Up until this point, the devils residing in the area were blissfully unaware of the impending ambush. Typically, devil nests were established over yin veins, and the devils harnessed the energy from these veins to erect multiple layers of concealed barriers. These barriers, powered by the pure yin qi of the yin veins, were virtually undetectable to outsiders. However, a game-changing innovation had altered the landscape, Wang Jian's telephone artifact. This device revolutionized communication across the continent. A couple of months earlier, a group of Wind Cloud House experts had successfully tracked down 3 devils heading toward this particular devil nest. Before entering the nest, they took the strategic step of sharing the precise coordinates of the devil nest with their sect. Only after this information had been transmitted did they venture inside, ultimately meeting their demise at the hands of the devils. What the devils residing in this nest did not realize was that the Wind Cloud House had long been aware of their location. Since then, Wind Cloud House had been making meticulous preparations for the impending confrontation. The rich yin veins found in this region was highly advantageous for the immortal dominions as well. Once connected to these dominions, it would foster the growth of valuable herbs and enhance the production of natural resources, all while elevating the quality of spiritual energy within its boundaries. Furthermore, it would constitute a remarkable achievement for any sect capable of dismantling a devil nest and connecting its yin vein to the immortal dominions. The division of resources among the sects occurred once every 10 years, and the outcome was determined by the cumulative contributions of each sect. The sect that made the most significant contribution was rewarded with the highest quantity, quality, and diversity of resources for the subsequent decade. In the last allocation of resources within the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, it was the Heavenly Lotus sect that emerged as the beneficiary of the most substantial contribution. The Wind Cloud House wished to take charge this time and defeat the Heavenly Lotus sect and the Spirit Affinity sect and to be allocated the most significant contribution. Thus, they planned this ambush so secretly that the other 2 sects had no idea about it. The time for the ambush had finally arrived. Wang Jian was joined by 10 Emperor Realm experts from the Wind Cloud House as they approached the devil nest selected for their ambush. To the casual observer, it appeared to be an entirely ordinary plain, devoid of any indication of devilish presence. Only Wang Jian, thanks to his possession of the Butterfly Spirit Queen's mark, could sense the abnormality here. This mark rendered him immune to all forms of illusion. However, even with his immunity to illusions, Wang Jian could only penetrate a few layers of the concealed arrays. Despite seeing through these layers, he still failed to detect any unusual presence or the presence of devils in the vicinity. Nevertheless, the coordinates provided by the leader of the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan and those possessed by the Wind Cloud House matched precisely. This confirmed beyond doubt that they were in the right location. At that very moment, the demons dwelling within the Devil Nest became acutely aware of the presence of 10 Emperor Realm experts from the Wind Cloud House who had come to launch an ambush. Their awareness arose from the numerous detection arrays they had cunningly set up. These arrays allowed them to detect any approaching experts within their vicinity. The realization that nearly 10 Emperor Realm experts from the Wind Cloud House were gearing up to assault them left the demons utterly bewildered and filled with dread. Within the Devil Nest, 4 Devil Emperors belonging to the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil clan were present. However, these 4 couldn't be deemed as the most exceptional talents of their clan. In this situation, these 4 Devil Emperors were clearly insufficient to contend with the formidable force of 10 Emperor Realm experts from the human Wind Cloud House. Swiftly, the demons dispatched messages to their main clan, urgently requesting reinforcements. In the interim, the 10 Emperor Realm experts stormed into the Devil Nest. Without a moment's hesitation, they harnessed their formidable abilities to systematically dismantle the entire Devil Nest, methodically eliminating every demon unfortunate enough to remain within its confines. The 4 Devil Emperors didn't attempt to confront the Wind Cloud House's Emperor Realm experts head-on. Instead, they desperately tried to escape, taking flight with all their might. However, their escape was abruptly halted as they suddenly felt the presence of a vast and engulfing flame domain surrounding them. This formidable domain was none other than Wang Jian's scorching solar incineration domain. He had deployed it with a dual purpose: to swiftly deal with the Devil Emperors and to showcase his immense value to the Wind Cloud House. In a cold, resolute whisper, Wang Jian commanded, "Ignite." In an instant, the Devil Emperors, who had been making a frantic attempt to flee the area, found themselves consumed by searing solar flames. These flames materialized directly upon their bodies, leaving them with no means of evasion. As the Devil Emperors writhed in the searing agony of Wang Jian's solar flames, the remaining Wind Cloud House experts arrived on the scene. They wasted no time and swiftly began to dispatch the Devil Emperors, whose vitality and power were rapidly diminishing due to the relentless inferno. In just one day, the entire Devil Nest had been purged of demons and devils, a feat that left the Wind Cloud House experts astounded. They couldn't help but acknowledge that this mission had been made significantly easier thanks to Wang Jian's invaluable assistance. His solar flames and profound mastery of the scorching solar incineration domain had rendered the demonic foes powerless, leading to their swift annihilation. With the battle concluded, 4 Wind Cloud House experts set to work on the intricate process of linking the Yin vein to the celestial nexus Immortal Dominion. This endeavor was expected to take more than a week to complete. Visit novilbin.c/m for the L-test updates. Meanwhile, the remaining Emperor Realm experts of the Wind Cloud House gathered around Wang Jian, eager to learn more about his domain and other matters. They saw logic in solidifying an alliance with him. Upon his return to the room in the Zephyr Zenith Terrace, Wang Jian found Luo Qiu and Yan Niu waiting for him. With a contented sigh, he reclined on the bed, his gaze fixed on the 2 women. "Qiu, how about giving my legs a good massage?" "Niu, come closer," he said with a playful grin. Both women complied with his request, knowing his desires all too well. Luo Qiu's skilled hands began to work their magic on his legs. Starting with his feet, she gradually moved upward, her fingers kneading the tension from his legs and thighs. As for Yan Niu, she had already nestled herself beside Wang Jian, their bodies close and intimate. His hands, bold and confident, explored her enticing curves beneath her clothes, eliciting soft, suppressed moans of pleasure. So, did we have any visitors while I was away? Wang Jian inquired, his voice husky with desire. Yen Yo, struggling to maintain her composure amid his caresses, managed to respond in a husky voice, "A few men did request to meet us, but we turned them down." Wang Jian, biting her earlobe lightly, responded with a hint of dominance, "I knew you wouldn't have accepted. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so forgiving right now." His hands continued their bold exploration, igniting the passion between them. In the southern region, a fascinating situation unfolded. Su Xian had made a remarkable discovery concerning how the weapons of the dwarven race, wielded by barbarian race members, could dismantle the formidable barriers established by the three empires of the southern region. It appeared that the barriers employed by each of these southern region empires were exceptionally robust. Their resilience was never in question, as the attacks from barbarian race members wielding dwarven-powered weapons were notably lacking in raw power. However, despite their low power, these dwarven-powered weapons demonstrated exceptional precision. They harnessed their limited power to pinpoint the connections between the barriers and their energy sources. The dwarves had astutely identified a significant weakness in the formations created by humans. The energy channels linking the formations to their power sources were consistently feeble. Armed with this knowledge, the dwarves were confident in their ability to dismantle any human-made barrier by targeting these vulnerable energy conduits. In essence, the dwarven weapons were designed to exploit this weakness, rendering the barriers powerless once their energy streams had been disrupted. However, comprehending this challenge was just the initial phase. The second step was finding a solution to confront the assaults launched by the barbarian race members wielding these potent dwarven-powered weapons. Remarkably, it was discovered that devil arrays infused with potent demonic chi held the key to addressing this predicament. Both the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan had devil arrays that could effortlessly withstand the relentless attacks of barbarian race members armed with dwarven-powered weapons. These devil clans possessed remarkable expertise in defensive formations and arrays that proved exceptionally effective against the barbarian race. In contrast, Stella and Bishi Shuyan's team had developed defensive and illusionary arrays and formations that allowed them to retaliate against the barbarian race members. Stella's mastery of illusion abilities and formations was so profound that these formations could incite conflicts among the barbarian race members, making them fight amongst themselves. However, Hong Meilin's team had somewhat less effective defensive formations against the barbarian race members. Eventually, they joined forces with the experts of the Amber Horizon dynasty to combat these barbarian race members. Fortunately, the church members accompanying Hong Meilin were exceptionally powerful and could easily vanquish the barbarian race members. Upon securing victory, Hong Meilin reported the situation to Su Xian. Su Xian pondered the situation deeply and subsequently reassigned roles and responsibilities among the teams. The Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan, led by Zyrithia, were to remain in the Jade Sea Empire. One of them would focus on defensive formations, while the other would launch offensives against the barbarian race members. Meanwhile, Hong Meilin's team from the Amber Horizon dynasty will be recalled. Instead, Bishi Shuyan and a proficient team of warriors would be dispatched to the Amber Horizon dynasty. Here in the dynasty, she would establish a similar illusionary defensive formation as that of Set on the Ebon Star Ascendancy's front lines. Su Xian also dispatched numerous Emperor Realm experts from various sects to reinforce Stella and Bishi Shuyan's teams. Although their illusionary formations were proving effective and there seemed to be little cause for concern, Su Xian was unwilling to take any chances. As the days went by, the barbarian race incurred significant losses while attempting further attacks on the three empires. Eventually, after suffering numerous setbacks, they retreated to their dominion, where they aimed to devise a strategy to overcome all the five empires and secure their earth veins to bolster their own dominion. A few days later, the barbarian race realized that they were no longer receiving shipments of weapons and armor from the dwarven race. Concerned, they reached out to the dwarven race to inquire about this sudden halt. the Dwarven race, in a rather helpless tone, explained that a powerful sect from the celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion in the central region had restricted their passage. As a result, sending more weapons and armor would be impossible for the time being. Meanwhile, a startling event unfolded in the western deserts. The sky darkened completely, and lightning seemed to constantly streak across the landscape. The cause was simple. Jiangchen had decided to use the Terra Blade he had pilfered from the treasury of the Underworld Giant's Immortal Dominion to break one of the restraints on his body. His first target for removal was the constraint on his bloodline abilities. This meant that Jiangchen could now utilize his bloodline abilities of the Heavenly Azura Devil clan. Other than being able to utilize his bloodline abilities, Jiangchen's cultivation was also elevated from the initial level of the Saint Realm to the middle level of the Saint Realm. As Jiangchen successfully shattered one of his restraints, the Terra Sword began to dissipate, almost as if it had served its purpose and was fading away. Suddenly, the ominous dark clouds in the sky crackled with intense lightning. A colossal bolt of lightning was hurled directly at Jiangchen. Within a half-kilometer radius of the strike, everything was subjected to the overwhelming power of this massive lightning bolt. The very landscape was reduced to rubble, and even the trees were reduced to splinters. It wasn't just the law of lightning at work here. Other laws, such as the laws of flames, annihilation, and vibrations, seemed to accompany the devastating strike. However, Jiangchen had been well prepared for such a formidable challenge. For several weeks leading up to this moment, he had meticulously arranged arrays on the ground, fortifying his position and readying himself to withstand the ferocity of the heavenly tribulations. Even as the surrounding area was utterly devastated, Jiangchen's ground array held steadfast, absorbing and resisting the onslaught of the heaven tribulation, which was now powered by additional laws. From the array on the ground, a dark energy, akin to devilish essence, seeped out, all under Jiangchen's control. Jiangchen stood atop a location where a yin vein ran deep within the earth. His devil array was strategically positioned to harness the yin qi emanating from the vein, using it as a bulwark against the might of the heavenly tribulations. Find new stories on nov/elbin.com. The yin vein absorbed the brunt of the heavenly tribulations attack, transforming every aspect of it into pure yin qi that Jiangchen could manipulate. He planned to utilize this raw yin qi to fortify himself against the onslaught of even more heavenly tribulations that would undoubtedly follow. As this celestial spectacle unfolded, the seeping devil energy from the earth didn't go unnoticed. It piqued the curiosity of the three human empires in the western deserts, as well as the giant race. All of them recognized the unmistakable signs of a devil undergoing a heavenly tribulation. Furthermore, they sensed that this devil was exceptionally formidable. Their thoughts naturally gravitated towards the idea of seizing this unique opportunity to witness the heavenly tribulation and perhaps vanquish this mighty devil. Jiangchen was well aware that such a significant commotion would undoubtedly attract the attention of not only human experts but also those from the giant race. In anticipation of this, he had meticulously arranged illusion arrays around his location, turning the entire area into a bewildering maze for anyone attempting to reach him. These illusion arrays, too, drew upon the yin qi of the yin veins, ensuring their resilience against the heavenly tribulation's onslaught. As the next bolt of heavenly lightning descended upon Jiangchen, it appeared even more ferocious and carried the might of more potent laws. Jiangchen faced the growing intensity of the heavenly lightning without fear. His bloodline abilities had finally activated, and he infused his body with the yin qi from the yin veins, unleashing the formidable Elder Shadow Surge. The Elder Shadow Surge worked its magic, creating 10 shadow duplicates of Jiangchen, all under his precise control. Together, they joined forces to unleash a devastating abyssal void beam. The abyssal void beam projected an immense torrent of yin qi directly at the approaching heavenly lightning bolt. The collision between the heavenly tribulation's lightning bolt and the abyssal void beam was nothing short of spectacular. Soon, the overwhelming power of the abyssal void beam forced the lightning bolt of the heavenly tribulations to disperse. However, this did not bring an end to the heavenly tribulations, it only made them more potent. Now, in addition to lightning bolts, other elemental attacks descended upon Jiangchen. Jiangchen had orchestrated this entire situation to his advantage. He purposely invited the heavenly tribulations to bring down attacks of other elements because he knew these elemental attacks were potent and enhanced with powerful laws. His intention was to seize these formidable elemental powers for himself. In the blink of an eye, Jiangchen tapped deeper into his bloodline abilities, using the Elder Shadow Surge to create over 1,000 clones. Ordinarily, he could only produce a few dozen clones through this ability. However, his connection to the Yin vein in the ground allowed him to draw upon more of his bloodline's power. This came at a cost, though. Overexerting his body would leave him severely injured and immobile. But Jiangchen was willing to take this risk to seize the incredible power of these variant elements for himself. After a grueling day of enduring the heavenly tribulations, Jiangchen emerged victorious, having captured the crimson lightning and black winds unleashed by the celestial ordeal. But his triumph was short-lived. Moments after the heavenly tribulations subsided, a horde of experts stormed into the area where Jiangchen had faced his trial. Among them were Saint Realm experts from the heavenly court. However, before any of these newcomers could lay eyes on Jiangchen, he executed a shocking maneuver. Utilizing his Elder Shadow Surge bloodline ability, Jiangchen's 1,000 clones suddenly detonated in a spectacular display. The resulting dark, shadowy clouds blanketed the entire vicinity, obscuring it from the senses of the intruding experts. Within this shroud, Jiangchen was the sole figure capable of moving freely. Seizing this advantage, he unleashed a deadly assault on several Saint Realm experts using his other potent bloodline abilities, all executed with remarkable silence. Although Saint Realm experts possessed keen senses, the densing qi within the shadowy clouds greatly dampened their perceptions, making them easy prey for Jiangchen's stealthy attacks. The heavenly court experts didn't passively await their fate, they swiftly retrieved powerful holy artifacts that emitted an overwhelming holy attribute. These artifacts dispersed the enshrouding black shadowy clouds surrounding them. Gradually, an increasing number of prepared experts began using their holy artifacts to drive away the black clouds. Jiangchen realized that it wouldn't be long before the shadows dissipated entirely. Hence, he decided it was time to make a hasty retreat. Swiftly, he departed, repositioning himself amidst the experts of the Bronze Mirage Empire, assuming the role of Emperor Theodoros. His sudden appearance startled his subordinates, who hadn't anticipated their emperor's unannounced return. Nevertheless, they had no choice but to place their trust in him as they followed him back to the safety of their empire. In the eastern seas, the sea monsters easily overpowered the human empires, thanks to the support they received from the dwarven race's advanced weaponry and armor. With this assistance, the sea monsters had successfully captured 4 out of the 9 earth veins in the Eastern Sea, a significant accomplishment. The remaining human empires in the Eastern Sea were now in dire straits, putting up a fierce resistance against the sea monsters. However, they found relief when the sects of the ethereal Mirage Immortal Sanctuary finally decided to send their experts to aid the struggling human empires. The reason for the delay in their assistance stemmed from the extensive negotiations between the ethereal Mirage Immortal Sanctuary and the Eastern Sea empires. The sects had set high demands for their help, which took time to negotiate. Now, the price for the ethereal Mirage Immortal Sanctuary's support was clear. Of the 4 earth veins seized by the dwarven race, 3 would go to these sects, 1 for each sect within the sanctuary. This agreement marked a significant turning point in the conflict. The sects of the ethereal Mirage Immortal Sanctuary had a dual strategy in play. Firstly, they worked to halt the dwarves from shipping any more weapons and armor to the eastern seas through the central region. This aimed to cut off the sea monsters' supply lines. Secondly, these sects dispatched their own experts to the eastern seas to actively support the struggling human empires in the region. Their intervention added a volatile element to the already tumultuous situation. Interestingly, This volatility played into the favor of the human empires in the eastern seas, giving them an advantage. Meanwhile, Wang Jian was formulating his strategies to conquer the Heavenly Lotus sect and the Spirit Affinity sect. One of his tactics involved instructing the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan and his Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan to collaborate and activate the Devil Nests near the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. Their primary objective was to target the mines and other resource-gathering sites controlled by the Spirit Affinity sect and the Heavenly Lotus sect. Wang Jian could obtain precise information about the experts being sent to defend these sites by communicating with Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran. This information allowed him to plan his attacks effectively. The success of these strategies hinged on which experts the Spirit Affinity sect and the Heavenly Lotus sect would send to safeguard their sites. Wang Jian's approach depended on the strength and importance of the experts deployed. If relatively weaker King Realm experts were assigned to protect less significant sites, Wang Jian intended to allow them to reclaim these locations. However, if the sects deployed Emperor Realm experts, particularly if one of their sect leaders was among them, Wang Jian planned to have powerful devils secretly stationed at the site. Additionally, they would set up formidable devil arrays in the vicinity, enhancing their chances of success. Wang Jian's plan was well thought out. They had set their sights on approximately 50 resource-gathering sites belonging to the Spirit Affinity sect and around 60 similar sites controlled by the Heavenly Lotus sect. LL New Rise at N0V/LBI/.cm. Here's how the Devil's strategy worked. They intended to use their Devil Nest to establish connections with these targeted resource-gathering sites. This connection would enable them to instantly teleport between these locations through the Devil Nest, provided that the expert managing the Devil Nest's array allowed such access. However, there was a catch to this perk. To make use of it, the Devil Nest needed to be activated. Activation involved enveloping the entire area in a shroud of devil aura, which would, in turn, make the Devil Nest's precise location easily detectable to anyone within the area. Consequently, it wouldn't be a challenging task for the Spirit Affinity sect or the Heavenly Lotus sect to attempt to locate the Devil Nest once it was activated. After the Devil Nest activation, the primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion, where the Heavenly Court was situated, extended its senses toward the nest. If it detected the presence of a Saint Realm Devil aura, it would instantly send out an alert. This was a safety feature that the spirit of the primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion had cooked up after the Heavenly Court folks asked for it. Just so you know, this fancy alarm system was only available in the central region of the continent. But guess what? There weren't any big-shot devil saints hanging out in this devil nest. So, the primordial Yin-Yang Immortal Dominion stayed silent. This meant the strongest devil in there was just a devil emperor. The Central Region sects had to handle it on their own. When the Spirit Affinity sect and the Heavenly Lotus sect found out about the activated Devil Nest taking control of their resource-gathering spots, they knew they had to get moving fast to reclaim them. So, both sects put together teams of heavy hitters. They made sure to pair up team members who had complementary elemental powers, so they could do these fusion attacks and defeat the devils. At this moment, Wang Jian sat in his room, intently studying a huge map spread out on the table in front of him. On either side of him, Luo Niu and Yan Niu sat, their eyes fixed on the map with curiosity. Meanwhile, Wang Jian was deep in conversation with Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran. Lady Zhuoran was a member of the Spirit Affinity sect, while Han Shifeng belonged to the Heavenly Lotus sect. Since both women had recently joined their respective sects, they weren't assigned to participate in the battle against the devils at the Devil Nest. However, given their elevated positions within their sects, they had easy access to information about which teams were being deployed to which locations. Han Shifeng spoke up, "Husband, in the Heavenly Lotus sect, we have three main factions that hold significant influence. The first is led by our sect leader, Fairy Ruali. The second is under the guidance of the third elder, Fairy Jilian, and the third faction follows the fifth elder, Fairy Qian Shui. Following her, Lady Zhuoran added, "Master, the situation is quite similar in the Spirit Affinity sect. We have two major factions here. The most dominant one is led by sect leader Fairy Bai Xia, primarily because it boasts the support of the senior and more experienced members of the sect. The second faction is led by the second elder, Fairy Ming Lan, who seems determined to establish her influence within the sect. Her strength rivals that of the sect leader." Wang Jian chimed in with a smile, "You've both gathered quite a bit of information about your sects in a short time." Han Shifeng replied casually, "It wasn't too hard, husband. Representatives from each of these factions privately approached me for recruitment. The faction led by sect leader Fairy Ruali willingly shared information with me. They want me to feel welcomed and highlight their faction's dominance within the sect, emphasizing that the other two factions pose no threat." Lady Zhuoran continued, "As for me, both factions within the Spirit Affinity sect have approached me. They've attempted to sway me with various incentives. However, they share a common goal, trying to make me betray you. Every day, sect leader Bai Xia engages in lengthy conversations with me, often speaking negatively about men and questioning the trustworthiness of our relationship. She also tries to dig into our history, using examples to create a negative impression of you." Han Shifeng added, "In the Heavenly Lotus sect, their experts have begun doing something similar. They introduce me to different gatherings, where women discuss how being with a man would hinder my true potential in cultivation. They suggest I should abandon you and focus solely on my growth. It feels like they've been thoroughly brainwashed." Wang Jian smirked upon hearing their accounts. Poor souls. They had no clue that attempting to turn both of you against me by speaking ill of me is futile. Our relationship began with dubious intentions, and you're both well aware of my wickedness. Yet, you fell in love with me, unable to resist my allure, be it physical, mental, or spiritual. "Yes, husband," Han Shifeng responded with a hint of amusement. Even Luo Qiu and Yen Yo, who were seated beside Wang Jian, found themselves nodding in agreement. Originally, they had served as the Empress and second queen to Wang Jian's father, Emperor Wang. Their relationship with Wang Jian was that of half-mothers, as they were their father's wives. However, even this connection hadn't deterred Wang Jian from pursuing them with his lustful desires. While Luo Qiu and Yen Yo harbored resentment toward Wang Jian, they couldn't deny the overpowering allure he held over their bodies, minds, and spirits during those unforgettable and intimate nights they had shared with him. Those moments had brought them immense pleasure, mingled with a sense of humiliation that completely shattered their resolve. The allure and command Wang Jian held over their minds, bodies, and spirits was to the point that even at this moment, both Luo Qiu and Yen Yo had wrapped themselves to Wang Jian's body even without having him ordering them to do so. They would share intimate moments with him off their own accords. Wang Jian's tone turned serious. "All right. Please begin by informing me where the experts from each faction will be dispatched. I need this information to plan our strategy." This directive was aimed at Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran. Both of them promptly began sharing details about which locations and times each faction's teams would be dispatched to. The Spirit Affinity sect's most formidable experts, including the faction leaders, were gearing up for a direct assault on the Devil Nest that had taken control of their resource-gathering sites. Similarly, the most powerful members of each faction within the Heavenly Lotus sect were plotting a similar course of action. Within the Heavenly Lotus sect, it was important to note that there were three distinct factions. The faction led by the third elder, Fairy Zhilian, and the one led by the fifth elder, Fairy Qianshui, had joined forces. Their intention was to strike the Devil Nest that had commandeered the Heavenly Lotus sect's resource-gathering sites ahead of the faction led by sect leader Fairy Ruali. Mission, as it would significantly boost their standing within the sect. They aimed to win over neutral members who might join their. Both of these factions were keen on achieving success in this mission, as it would significantly boost their standing within the sect. They aimed to win over neutral members who might join their ranks in the wake of a successful operation. However, both groups proceeded with caution. Initially, they decided to dispatch their experts to liberate a few crucial resource-gathering sites. By battling the demons and devils occupying these locations, they hoped to identify which devil clan they were dealing with, whether it was a lesser-ranked or formidable one. Recognizing that the powerful experts from each sect were not planning to act immediately, Wang Jian instructed the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan to deploy lower-ranked devil clans to guard the spots soon to be targeted by the Spirit Affinity Sect and the Heavenly Lotus Sect. Only devil kings were stationed at these locations. Through this strategy, Wang Jian aimed to downplay the threat posed by the devil nests and make both sects underestimate their true capabilities. In just a week, both of these sects had made significant progress. They had managed to eliminate a large number of demons and members of lower-ranked devil clans while liberating numerous resource-gathering sites from the control of the devil nests. At this point, neither the Spirit Affinity Sect nor the Heavenly Lotus Sect had any inkling that two of the most formidable devil clans, the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan, were actually operating these devil nests. The members of both sects were thrilled with their successes. They believed that they could maintain this momentum and swiftly eliminate those devil nests in one decisive strike. Meanwhile, the Wind Cloud House was confronting demons attempting to seize control of their own resource-gathering sites. It appeared that these demons had fled from the resource-gathering sites owned by the Spirit Affinity Sect and the Heavenly Lotus Sect, making their way to the sites belonging to the Wind Cloud House. Wang Jian, Luo Qiu, and Yan Niu departed from the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion's territory, heading toward the devil nest that was set to be attacked. Wang Jian had already informed the devil forces of his arrival, so they had prepared a special chamber within the devil nest connected to the Yin vein. This chamber had been designed in a way that all the arrays surrounding it within the cave would absorb and dampen the shockwaves generated during the upcoming battles inside the devil nest. The initial target for attack was the devil nest located in the Heavenly Lotus Sect's territory. The two factions allied with the Heavenly Lotus Sect believed they could defeat the devil clans within the nest based on their previous encounters with demons during the liberation of their resource-gathering sites. After their arrival in the devil nest and settling into the special chamber, Wang Jian, Luo Qiu, and Yan Niu patiently waited for the experts from the Heavenly Lotus Sect to make their way to the nest. During this time, they indulged in the delightful spirit fruits and unique wines from the Silver Devil Azura Dominion. Luo Qiu and Yan Niu managed to consume a few of these before focusing on meditating to harness the energy from these delicacies. In contrast, Wang Jian casually munched on these treats as if they were his favorite snacks. Later that day, Wang Jian's eyes lit up as he sensed the approach of the Heavenly Lotus Sect's experts. Up to TED Chapters NNVelben.com. He grinned to himself, thinking, Han Shifeng was spot on. Their attack is indeed happening today. As the Heavenly Lotus Sect's experts, led by 3rd Elder Fairy Ji Luan and 5th Elder Fairy Qian Shui, entered the Devil Nest, they were initially confident in their abilities. However, their confidence quickly turned to shock as the entrance behind them closed, trapping them inside. They realized that this was no ordinary battle, and it was far from what they had expected. In the dimly lit chamber of the Devil Nest, a chilling aura enveloped them. It was then that they noticed the presence of the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan, two formidable devil clans, among others. These devil clans possessed unique abilities that made them formidable adversaries. The Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan harnessed the power of Moon Chi and Shadow Chi, while the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan wielded Curse Energy and Shadow Chi. The Devil Clans had not only occupied the Devil Nest but had also strategically placed multiple arrays to enhance their powers. And it was at this moment that these Devil arrays were activated. The combined might of these devil clans along with countless demons left the Heavenly Lotus Sect's experts feeling overwhelmed and outnumbered. Despite the odds stacked against them, 3rd Elder Fairy Ji Luan and 5th Elder Fairy Qian Shui rallied their faction members, displaying incredible teamwork. Third Elder Fairy Ji Luan unleashed her holy water elemental attribute techniques, creating cascades of holy water that she directed toward the devil clans. The holy water sizzled upon contact with the shadowy energies of the devils. On the other hand, Fifth Elder Fairy Qian Shui utilized her holy flames elemental attribute techniques, conjuring scorching flames that danced with divine fury. The holy flames incinerated the curses and shadows that surrounded the devils, causing them to shriek in pain. The battle raged on for what felt like hours. The Heavenly Lotus Sect's experts fought valiantly, and their elemental techniques created dazzling displays of power within the devil nest. However, the devil clans proved to be formidable adversaries, countering the sect's techniques with their own dark and arcane powers. Despite their unwavering determination, the Heavenly Lotus Sect's experts found themselves gradually losing ground. The devil clan's resilience and unity proved to be a daunting challenge, and the Heavenly Lotus Sect's members began to tire from the relentless battle. As the battle reached its climax, the devil clans swiftly moved to capture them. With their elemental powers waning and their strength faltering, the Heavenly Lotus Sect's experts were overwhelmed and captured by the devil clans. Bound and defeated, they could do nothing but await their fate within the ominous depths of the devil nest. Once Wang Jian had successfully captured the members of both factions from the Heavenly Lotus Sect, he wasted no time in putting his plan into action. He ordered the leaders of the devil clans to have their subordinates carry out a cruel and relentless campaign of torture against the captured sect members. Officially, the devil clans were torturing these sect members to extract information or uncover any weaknesses of the Heavenly Lotus Sect. However, Wang Jian had a different motive. His true intention was to shatter the mental fortitude and willpower of these women, driving them into a state of utter despair. Wang Jian believed that only when they reached the depths of despair would these women truly appreciate being saved. Therefore, for an entire week, the sect members endured a relentless onslaught of both physical and psychological torment. Each day ended with the devil clans using precious healing herbs to mend the wounds inflicted upon their captives. But as they say, the experience cannot be forgotten. The reason Wang Jian allowed this torment to continue for a full week was that he was waiting to see if sect leader Fairy Ruali's shockwaves throughout the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. Not only were the members of the Heavenly Lotus Sect concerned, faction of the Heavenly Lotus Sect would launch an attack on the Devil Nest. The absence of such a large contingent, formed by the collaboration of the Third Elder and Fifth Elder's factions, had sent shockwaves throughout the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion. Not only were the members of the Heavenly Lotus Sect concerned, but the Spirit Affinity Sect and the Wind Cloud House were also deeply troubled by the mysterious circumstances surrounding the Devil Nests. The Spirit Affinity Sect decided to postpone their own attacks, sensing that something was amiss within the Devil Nests. On the other hand, sect leader Fairy Ruali of the Heavenly Lotus Sect hesitated to launch a solo assault against the devils inhabiting the Devil Nest. She sought assistance from the Wind Cloud House, but their response was evasive and non-committal. As the week drew to a close, Wang Jian came to a realization: sect leader Fairy Ruali was not likely to initiate an attack on the Devil Nest in the near future. Therefore, he needed to adjust his plan accordingly. Throughout the entire week of captivity, the women from the two factions of the Heavenly Lotus Sect who had fallen into the clutches of the devil clans were plagued by a relentless series of questions and thoughts. Why? Why hasn't our sect leader come to rescue us yet? Is it because we belong to different factions? Or does she despise us so much that she'd abandon us to these devils? Perhaps she believes we are already lost. But it's truly disheartening to think she wouldn't even lead an assault to make the devils pay. I should never have joined this faction. If I had stayed with the sect leader, I might be safe right now. Why, God? Why must we endure such suffering? I've already spilled everything I know to these vile devils, yet they torment me day after day. I can't bear this any longer. I want to end it all. I want to die. Please, someone, save us. These were the despairing thoughts of the captive women, each one voicing their anguish in solitude. Many of them had reached a breaking point and yearned for death. If they had any control over their bodies or were not bound and restrained, they might have attempted to take their own lives multiple times. Unfortunately, even the solace of death remained beyond their reach. At this pivotal moment, Wang Jian sprang into action. He entered the devil nest where the intense battle had unfolded, and the devils greeted him as he arrived. Addressing the leaders of the devil forces, Wang Jian said, "Let's initiate the plan." "As you wish, young master," both captains of the devil forces contingent replied. Wang Jian harnessed the laws of shadow, concealing himself as he made his way to the area where the captured Heavenly Lotus sect women were imprisoned. Quietly and skillfully, Wang Jian dispatched the dozens of devils guarding the captives. Once the guards were incapacitated, he approached the women and whispered, "Are you all right?" A few women responded timidly, "Who are you?" Their voices barely above a whisper, their eyes locked onto the cloaked figure with a concealed face. With a gentle motion, Wang Jian lowered his hood and removed his mask, revealing his handsome face. "My name is Wang Jian. I'm the husband of Bishi Zhuoran and Han Shifeng. I've come to rescue all of you," he said with a reassuring smile. Upon seeing Wang Jian's kind smile, the women found a glimmer of hope amid their despair. Each one felt compelled to place her trust in him. "Really? You'll save us? If you save us, I'll be forever grateful." "Me too." But Wang Jian hushed them with a gesture. "Shoo, keep your voices down. We don't want the devils to hear us," he cautioned. His words had an immediate effect, silencing the women instantly. Among the captives, 3rd Elder Fairy Ji Luan and 5th Elder Fairy Qian Shui managed to regain some composure. Their roles as faction leaders naturally endowed them with greater mental resilience. Fairy Ji Luan inquired with curiosity, "How did you find your way here? I also sense traces of demonic laws around you. Are you a demon?" This revelation startled the other women, who exchanged uneasy glances. Wang Jian swiftly gestured for them to remain silent. He whispered, "It's not surprising that you sense demonic energy from me. I am a half-devil and half-human. You might have heard rumors of an individual in the southern region fitting that description. A powerful expert in the southern region who's half-devil and half-human. But the last I heard, it was the Emperor of the Everlasting Mystical Empire," Fairy Ji Luan couldn't help but remark. In the meantime, Fairy Qian Shui pieced something together and uttered, You are the Emperor of the Everlasting Mystical Empire." "Exactly," Wang Jian confirmed with a friendly smile. "I came to the central region to halt the dwarves' weapon shipments to the barbarian race in the southern region. While I was here, I became interested in the sects of the central region and decided to extend my stay. But who could have foreseen the devil invasion during this time? No way. It all seems so surreal. Is our luck finally turning? Are we truly going to be rescued?" Fairy Ji Luan whispered to herself, her calm exterior failing to hide her excitement at Wang Jian's arrival. In a pleading tone, Fairy Qian Shui implored, Please go and inform the Heavenly Lotus sect that we're still alive, held captive by these vile demons. They need to rescue us quickly." Wang Jian took a moment of reflection before replying, "I can certainly do that, but it might take some time for them to arrive. Instead, I'll send a message to my wives here, and they can notify their respective sections. Afterward, I'll create a diversion to aid your escape." "But how will we escape?" "Once the demons discover their guards incapacitated, they'll be on high alert," Fairy Ji Luan questioned with a furrowed brow. "Don't worry. Leave that part to me. Just be ready to flee when the opportunity arises. When that moment comes, don't hesitate," Wang Jian reassured them with a confident smile. Fairy Qian Shui asked, Why are you doing so much for us? You aren't even hesitating to take such a huge risk for us when we aren't even related to you? What's the reason? Wang Jian smirked upon hearing the question and replied proudly, I might not know much about the customs of the central region, but back in my empire, it's a well-known tradition that a man never hesitates to risk his life to save a woman's life. It doesn't matter if she's related to him or not. Since I know that all of you are in grave danger, it's my responsibility to save you all. His words struck a chord in the hearts of all the women. In different circumstances, they might have dismissed such words from a man as corny or insincere, which would have led to mockery or disdain. However, it was Wang Jian, an extraordinarily handsome man, who was speaking. His presence alone was captivating to these women. Moreover, Wang Jian had spoken these lines at a moment when their mental and emotional states were at their lowest. He was the beacon of hope in their darkness hour, ready to risk his life for their sake. In this dire situation, the sincerity behind his words was undeniable. At this moment, all the women found his words not only charming but also deeply reassuring. They couldn't help but trust Wang Jian to be their savior. After their conversation, Wang Jian quietly slipped away, leaving the area as stealthily as he had arrived. A few minutes later, a couple of demons stumbled upon the incapacitated guards and immediately raised the alarm. The entire devil nest was thrown into a frenzy as they realized an intruder had breached their defenses. The captive women, watching the chaos unfold, couldn't help but worry for Wang Jian. They clung to the hope that he had escaped safely and would return to rescue them. As promised, Wang Jian reached out to Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran, instructing them to convey to their respective sects that the Heavenly Lotus sect's experts were still alive. Han Shifeng and Lady Zhuoran promptly embarked on their missions to relay this crucial information to their sects. Meanwhile, an entire day dragged on, an excruciatingly long wait for the captive women. Filled with apprehension, they grappled with thoughts of Wang Jian's safety, praying that he had safely delivered the message to his wives. They also held out hope that their own sects would soon mount a rescue mission. It was on this fateful day when a tremendous shockwave rippled throughout the entire devil nest. This shockwave originated from a massive explosion that occurred near the entrance. Swiftly, the devils converged on the source of the disturbance, poised to confront the intruder. Meanwhile, Wang Jian stealthily infiltrated the devil nest, making his way to the chamber where the captive members of the Heavenly Lotus sect were confined. The sight of him brought an overwhelming sense of relief and joy to the imprisoned women. Wang Jian, wearing an expression of urgency, wasted no time in addressing them. I've set up a series of portable arrays causing chaos at the entrance. The devils will be disoriented for a while. This is your chance to break free. With deft precision, he shattered the cages that had held them captive and severed the special alloy chains that had restrained their powers and abilities. Keep your powers concealed and follow me quietly, Wang Jian instructed. As he spoke, another of his portable arrays triggered, resulting in a colossal explosion that sent shockwaves reverberating throughout the devil nest. Wang Jian led the women through a concealed underground tunnel, having already neutralized the station devils. The women couldn't help but admire Wang Jian's thorough preparation to rescue them. Emperor Wang, I can never repay this life-saving favor. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, one of the women expressed her gratitude earnestly, her eyes reflecting a hint of admiration. Her words resonated with the others, who eagerly voiced their gratitude, vowing never to forget this life-saving act. Even Third Elder Fairy Ji Luan and Fifth Elder Fairy Qian Shui were swept up in the tide of emotion, their excitement barely contained. However, just when it seemed their ordeal might be over, powerful devil emperors from the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan ambushed their group from behind. Wang Jian reacted swiftly, employing his solar flames to intercept the incoming attacks. He stared at the experts from the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan, his shock evident. No way! They actually discovered us so soon. Wang Jian couldn't hide his amazement. The captain of the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan responded with conceit, "You are truly foolish, human. Did you think we hadn't set up an array to monitor every root in the Devil Nest? Now, you are going to die," declared the captain of the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan, directing his staff to unleash a curse upon Wang Jian and his group. With determination, Wang Jian harnessed his solar flames to consume and neutralize the curse. Soon, a group of devil emperors from both clans arrived, attacking as a unified force. EW Evils Uptez on NOV/L/BI.com. Wang Jian clenched his teeth and whispered, "Scorching solar incineration domain." In an instant, a fiery domain enveloped the demons. The captain of the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan remained defiant, scoffing, "Humph. Do you think you can win just because you have a powerful domain? Don't forget that you are currently inside the Devil Nest." The Devil Nest's influence began to manifest, flooding the area with yin qi. It slowly encroached upon Wang Jian's scorching solar incineration domain. In response, Wang Jian summoned a torrent of flames, constructing a formidable wall that separated the devils from his group, denying them access. He urgently addressed the third elder and the fifth elder of the Heavenly Lotus sect, "Go. Escape now. I will hold them back." The third elder, Ji Luan, spoke instinctively, "No. We will stay and fight." Fifth elder Qian Shui voiced her agreement, "Yes. Together, we can prevail." Wang Jian shook his head firmly and explained, "No, you don't understand. I am exceptionally fast, and I can certainly escape on my own. I just need to keep them at bay, preventing them from pursuing you. Once you're safely away, I will find my way out. Please, just go." His words spurred them into action. However, the women of the Heavenly Lotus sect remained puzzled, hesitating. Growing more impatient, Wang Jian roared, "I said go." His commanding tone left them with no choice but to follow his orders. Fairy Qian Shui spoke as they left, "If you do not return, Emperor Wang, I promise to avenge you." Fairy Ji Luan echoed the sentiment, "And I, Ji Luan, will ensure vengeance is carried out." As they retreated, their faith in Wang Jian was unshaken. His determination had left an indelible mark on their hearts. Back within the fiery barrier, Wang Jian prepared for the impending onslaught, his resolve unwavering. With the women of the Heavenly Lotus sect safely gone, Wang Jian dissipated his scorching solar incineration domain. Top VL updates on n/o/v/lb/in.com. The two captains of the devil clans approached and knelt before Wang Jian. "You both played your parts excellently. I almost believed you intended to attack me," Wang Jian said, his smile reflecting his satisfaction. "We apologize if we have caused any offense, young master," the captains of the two devil clans replied in unison. "No need for apologies. Your performance was convincing. In fact, I'll personally recommend to the Patriarch that you be rewarded upon your return," Wang Jian assured them. "Now, it's time to wrap things up and for all of you to depart. Be sure to leave behind shadow clones, each possessing at least 70% of your strength. Rest assured, you will receive proper compensation upon your return to the clan," Wang Jian added, his smile warm and reassuring. "Thank you, young master," the devil clan experts expressed their gratitude, their faces reflecting their delight. The situation in this part of the Devil Nest had been resolved. Wang Jian was confident that the Heavenly Lotus sect would soon gather their forces and launch a coordinated assault on this Devil Nest. While it might be a fierce battle, the Heavenly Lotus sect should have the upper hand now. His attention now turned to the Spirit Affinity sect's Devil Nest. Knowing that the Spirit Affinity sect was aware of the presence of two of the four great devil clans, they would undoubtedly prepare thoroughly before attacking. It was even possible that the two factions within the Spirit Affinity sect would join forces. Wang Jian realized that the strategy he had employed with the Heavenly Lotus sect's women would probably not be effective in this case. After realizing that he couldn't manipulate the women of the Spirit Affinity sect through despair like he did with the Heavenly Lotus sect, Wang Jian devised a different plan, one that would exploit another common human weakness, greed. With this new strategy in mind, Wang Jian left the devil nest and began to harm his own body, making it appear as though he had been seriously injured in a battle against the devils. Covered in crimson blood and leaking from his wounds, he gave the impression of a valiant but wounded hero. Outside the devil nest, Wang Jian eventually caught up with the group of women from the Heavenly Lotus sect who had just escaped. As they noticed his injured state, their relief at being safe was overshadowed by concern for him. "We're finally safe," Wang Jian whispered with a weak smile before losing consciousness. Immediately, the women rushed to his side, alarmed by his condition. Some healers among them attempted to use their holy attribute water qi to heal him, but it became evident that the devil attribute had deeply penetrated Wang Jian's body, making it impossible for them to treat him effectively on the spot. Fifth Elder Fairy Qian Shui took charge and decisively suggested, "We have to take him back to the sect. Only by submerging him in the St. Lotus Pond can we save him and heal his injuries." However, Third Elder Fairy Ji Luan raised an objection, her brow furrowing in concern. "But he's a man, and our sect's rules forbid men from entering. This is one of the important rules of our sections." Fairy Qian Shui, resolute and unwavering, defended her stance. "Third Elder Ji, this man risked his life to save all of us. He did something even our own sect hesitated to do, he rescued us from those devils by coming alone. I believe he deserves to be an exception to our sect's rule. If our ancestors knew of his bravery, they would have allowed us to make this exception." As the discussion unfolded, more and more women in the group voiced their agreement with the Fifth Elder's stance. With the overwhelming support from the majority, the Third Elder had little choice but to acquiesce to their decision. As a result, Wang Jian made history by becoming the first man ever to step foot inside the Heavenly Lotus sect and undergo the sacred waters of the St. Lotus Pond. This audacious move, however, ignited a fiery controversy within the sect. The sect leader's faction, including the sect leader herself, was incensed upon learning that Wang Jian, a man, had been allowed into the Heavenly Lotus sect. Their fury was further fueled by the revelation that he had been submerged in the hallowed waters of St. Lotus Pond. The ensuing dispute escalated into a fierce argument, pitting the experts of the Third Elder's and Fifth Elder's factions against those of the sect leader's faction. The tensions eventually reached a boiling point, leading to physical confrontations between the two factions. Surprisingly, the combined might of the Third Elder's and Fifth Elder's factions proved to be just as formidable as that of the sect leaders, intensifying the clash within the sect. Meanwhile, Wang Jian regained consciousness within the purifying embrace of the St. Lotus Pond. To his surprise, the pond had worked wonders in cleansing the devil qi that had been enveloped around his being. It hadn't eradicated his devil bloodline, but it had purified his qi and even the physique. However, Wang Jian sensed the delicate equilibrium of the St. Lotus Pond. It was a place of pure holy qi, and attempting to unleash his devil bloodline or transform into his fearsome devil form here would be akin to courting a slow and agonizing demise. Emerging from the pond, he made his way to Han Shifeng's quarters within the Heavenly Lotus sect. Communication was effortless through the telephone artifact, allowing him to locate her swiftly. In the sect, an alliance had formed between the Third Elder's and the Fifth Elder's factions. Wang Jian was greeted warmly by the members of this united force, who inquired about his well-being. Expressing his desire to meet Han Shifeng, they graciously escorted him to her room. The moment Wang Jian crossed the threshold, Han Shifeng leaped up and enveloped him in an exuberant embrace. "I can hardly believe it, you're really here," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Without further ado, she drew him into a passionate kiss, and they spent intimate moments together behind the closed door of her room, rekindling their connection after their separation. Their lips met in heated kisses, each one a testament to their love and desire. Wang Jian's hands explored the contours of Han Shifeng's body with an almost reverent touch, tracing the curves and edges that he had missed so dearly. Her soft sighs of pleasure spurred him on, and the room seemed to pulse with the electricity of their desire. As their clothing fell to the floor, discarded remnants of their separation, their bodies pressed together in an ardent embrace. The sensation of skin against skin was a revelation, a reminder of the physicality of their love. Wang Jian's lips traced a path down Han Shifeng's neck, planting tender kisses along the way, while her fingers danced across his back, leaving trails of sensation in their wake. Their lovemaking was a symphony of passion and yearning, a testament to the depth of their emotions. In each other's arms, they found solace and completion. Time seemed to blur as they explored the depths of their desire, their bodies moving in perfect harmony. Hours passed in a haze of pleasure, their shared ecstasy building to a crescendo that left them both breathless and sated. As they lay in each other's arms, tangled in the aftermath of their love, there was a profound sense of contentment and fulfillment. Wang Jian's presence in the Heavenly Lotus sect, against all odds and rules, had brought them together once more. And so, this marked the inception of Wang Jian's influence within the Heavenly Lotus sect. Currently, Wang Jian was content with subtly exerting his influence over the sect through the Third Elder and the Fifth Elder's factions. Their deep respect and admiration for him provided a foundation upon which he could further strengthen his control over the Heavenly Lotus sect. His plan was to gradually consolidate his grip on the sect, slowly tightening his hold. Meanwhile, Jiang Chen's presence was creating ripples across the western deserts. Having reached the middle stage of the Saint Realm and unsealed his bloodline abilities, he felt confident in handling any challenges that came his way. Jiang Chen reached out to the ruler of the Gilded Oasis dynasty that was an empire in the western deserts in the form of the devil expert who had assisted them. His purpose for seeking him out was to acquire his assistance in an attack on the everlasting mystical empire. The ruler of this Emperor Empires was familiar with the Emperor of the Everlasting Mystical Empire, the man who had developed the telephone artifact. He had contacted each of the 3 Western Deserts Emperors and guided them to take action against that devil by trying to contact the Heavenly Court through the use of spreading the rumors. The ruler of the Gilded Oasis dynasty didn't harbor negative feelings towards Wang Jian, the Emperor of the Everlasting Mystical Empire, even though their plan had failed. He didn't understand why the devil expert was targeting Wang Jian. It made him wonder whether this devil expert had discovered Wang Jian's secret plot. But he soon dismissed that thought because if that was the case, the devil expert would have punished his own and the Bronze Mirage Empire as well. Unfortunately, he couldn't obtain a clear answer to this question. His pledge bound him, leaving him with no choice but to proceed with Jiang Chen's plans. The news of Wang Jian's presence within the Heavenly Lotus sect quickly circulated to the other 2 sects in the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, leaving them in shock. Both sects were well aware of the Heavenly Lotus sect's strict rule against allowing men to enter their sacred territory. The Spirit Affinity sect shared a similar stance, maintaining a strict no-men policy within their sect. They understood the reasoning behind the Heavenly Lotus sect's unwavering commitment to this rule. However, the recent revelation that a man named Wang Jian had taken up residence in the Heavenly Lotus sect left them astounded. It was a result of Wang Jian's courageous act, risking his life to single-handedly rescue the captured experts of the Heavenly Lotus sect from the perilous Devil Nest, where formidable members of 2 great devil clans resided. In the process, he had suffered grave injuries due to the corrupting devil qi. Only by immersing himself in the Saint Lotus Pond could this malevolent energy be purged, and his health restored. This shocking news piqued the curiosity of the other sects, prompting them to question Wang Jian's true power. It was evident that he possessed remarkable strength to have successfully saved numerous Heavenly Lotus sect experts from the dangerous clutches of the great devil clans dwelling in the Devil Nest. The presence of Wang Jian had ignited an internal struggle within the Heavenly Lotus sect. On one side stood the factions led by 3rd Elder Fairy Ji Luan and 5th Elder Fairy Qian Shui, staunchly advocating for an exception for Wang Jian to the sect's ancient rule that barred men from entering. On the other side was the unwavering faction led by sect leader Fairy Ruoli, resolute in their determination to expel Wang Jian from the sect. Amidst this turmoil, sect leader Fairy Bai Xia of the Spirit Affinity sect sought counsel from Lady Zhuoran on the matter. She was keen to understand Wang Jian's abilities. Lady Zhuoran explained that Wang Jian's success against the devils could be attributed to his possession of solar flames and his mastery of the scorching solar incineration domain. Sect leader Fairy Bai Xia found this revelation surprising, yet logical, considering Wang Jian's achievements against the formidable Great Devil clans. She also cautioned Lady Zhuoran that while Wang Jian had managed to enter the Heavenly Lotus sect, the doors of the Spirit Affinity sect would forever remain closed to him. After sect leader Fairy Bai Xia departed, Lady Zhuoran wasted no time in sharing this crucial piece of information with Wang Jian. Upon hearing the news, Wang Jian's lips curled into a sinister smirk, and he uttered coldly, "She won't be able to stop me once she's dead." However, Wang Jian knew he had to bide his time. He awaited the impending Spirit Affinity sect expedition, when both factions of the sect would unite to venture into the Devil Nest and eradicate the threat. Within the Heavenly Lotus sect, Wang Jian met with Fairy Qian Shui and Fairy Ji Luan, urging them to reconcile with sect leader Fairy Ruoli. With a somewhat forced smile, he said, "I don't want to be the cause of internal conflict within this magnificent sect. Now that I'm healed, I shall take my leave. Please, make amends with Fairy Ruoli. You must realize that only with her support can you eradicate the devil nest within your sect's territory and eliminate the devil threat once and for all." Fairy Ji Luan swiftly responded, "Emperor Wang, you need not carry the burden of guilt in this matter. It's just that the sect leader and her faction are incredibly stubborn and refuse to understand the situation." Fairy Qian Shui echoed these sentiments, saying, "They fail to recognize your noble heart. Without your intervention, we not only would have lost our lives, but our entire sect would have suffered grievous losses. In fact, had we perished, our Heavenly Lotus sect would have been left incapable of handling the Devil Nest independently. We'd be forced to expend valuable resources seeking aid from another sect, which would be a really grim scenario." Wang Jian managed a wry smile and replied, "I share your disappointment in Fairy Ruoli. As the Emperor of the Everlasting Mystic Empire, I certainly understand the importance of culture and ancient traditions. However, I've also learned that progress and change are vital. We cannot remain mired in old customs while the world evolves." His words resonated deeply with Fairy Ji Luan and Fairy Qian Shui. "You speak the truth, Emperor Wang," Fairy Ji Luan affirmed, her voice filled with conviction. She added, "If, by chance, I ascend to the position of sect leader, I pledge that I won't hinder your entry into our sect." Fairy Qian Shui echoed the sentiment, her tone equally earnest. "I make the same promise, Emperor Wang." Internally, Wang Jian concealed his amusement at their pledges, maintaining a grave countenance. "Thank you for your understanding," he replied before taking his leave from the Heavenly Lotus sect. With Wang Jian's departure, the internal conflict that had been brewing between sect leader Fairy Ruoli's faction and the combined factions of Fairy Ji Luan and Fairy Qian Shui came to a halt. They entered into a temporary truce, joining forces to devise a plan to confront the devils residing within the Devil Nest. With the truce established, representatives from the Spirit Affinity sect naturally visited the Heavenly Lotus sect. Their purpose was straightforward: they wanted to learn about the capabilities that the experts of Heavenly Lotus sect had witnessed during their encounters with the devils in the Devil Nest. Suspecting that the Devil Nest within their own territory harbored similar formidable adversaries, the Spirit Affinity sect sought insights from those who had faced the devils firsthand. The members of the Heavenly Lotus sect, who had endured challenging battles within the Devil Nest, openly shared every piece of information they possessed. Armed with this knowledge, the Spirit Affinity sect promptly marshaled a significant force and directed it toward the Devil Nest. The collective strength amassed was so formidable that the other two sects in the Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion held high confidence in their forthcoming victory. As the Spirit Affinity sect's reinforcements journeyed toward the Devil Nest, Wang Jian took decisive action. He promptly contacted the captains of the two great devil clans, instructing them to leave behind clones with 70% of their power within the Devil Nest and withdraw. The resources needed to recover their strength that was spent on these clones would be replenished by their devil clans upon their return to the Silver Devil Azura Dominion. The journey to the Devil Nest was quite a trek, necessitating a midway break for the Spirit Affinity sect's experts. During this respite, Wang Jian seized the opportunity to put his plans into motion. He chose to approach Second Elder Fairy Minglan, who was diligently striving to bolster her faction and ascend to the position of sect leader within the Spirit Affinity sect. However, her path was fraught with challenges, as the sect leader's faction held a formidable sway that seemed insurmountable. Then, a cryptic message appeared within Fairy Minglan's tent, delivering a proposition that piqued her curiosity. It read, "Do you desire greater strength? Are you yearning for the mantle of sect leader? If your answer is yes, then come to the nearby Willow Valley. Make sure to come alone." Fairy Minglan found herself astonished by the mysterious appearance of this message, for she could detect no presence of another person in her vicinity. Intrigued by the mysterious message, Fairy Minglan decided to venture alone into the Willow Valley. Her confidence in her combat skills reassured her, knowing that she could at least signal for help if needed. As she explored the valley, a commanding voice echoed through the air, causing her to scan her surroundings. Her eyes widened when a cloaked figure materialized seemingly out of thin air. "You must be the one who sent me that note. What was it about?" Fairy Minglan inquired, her tone carrying a hint of menace. Wang Jian responded with a sly grin, "You shouldn't address your benefactor in such a manner, Fairy Minglan." Suspicion furrowed her brow as she pressed, "And what do you mean by that?" Your F48 stories on /o/v/lbn.cm. I mean exactly what I wrote in that note. I possess the means to empower you and your faction to the extent that you could easily overcome the sect leader's faction and achieve your goal of becoming the sect leader, Wang Jian explained, his smile unwavering. "How?" queried Fairy Minglan, her eyes narrowed in curiosity. "Well," Wang Jian began, "I possess a unique ability that allows me to perceive and unlock an individual's untapped potential. Right now, I sense a wealth of dormant power within you just waiting to be unleashed." Fairy Minglan's eyes widened in astonishment, but she quickly composed herself and retorted, "Impossible. I've never heard of such a mystical ability. If such a thing existed, the whole world would have known about it by now." "I anticipated your skepticism. That's precisely why I intend to offer you a demonstration. Without even laying a finger on you, I will amplify your spiritual energy and expand your sea of qi to a level beyond your wildest imagination," Wang Jian confidently declared. Wang Jian used his soul board technique to assess Fairy Minglan's abilities. He discovered she had 23 untapped points of potential. Deciding to demonstrate his claim, Wang Jian allocated 4 points. 2 went into enhancing her sea of qi, and the other 2 bolstered her spiritual energy. Fairy Minglan felt an astonishing transformation sweep over her. Her spiritual energy surged in density and purity, while her sea of qi expanded nearly 4-fold. For her, this was a monumental leap. "No way," she gasped, her disbelief evident. "My spiritual energy is incredibly dense and pure now, and my sea of qi has expanded beyond my wildest dreams. There's not a trace of impurity. This is just a glimpse of what I can do. I can even elevate your cultivation realm, within the limits of your latent potential," Wang Jian assured her confidently. Fairy Minglan regarded him with a mixture of shock and curiosity, her mind buzzing with questions about this enigmatic individual and his true identity. "So, what's your price?" she inquired, her curiosity tempered with caution. "I can't believe you'd offer such a favor without expecting something in return." Wang Jian leaned in, his tone unwavering. "I'll ensure you become the sect mistress of the Spirit Affinity sect. In exchange, I seek the allegiance of the Spirit Affinity sect, through you." "You merely wish to exert control over the Spirit Affinity sect through me," Fairy Minglan retorted, a skeptical sneer on her face. Wang Jian replied casually, "Indeed, but not in the way you might imagine. You will retain the autonomy to govern and lead the Spirit Affinity sect. I simply require your obedience when I assign tasks." As he spoke, Fairy Minglan sensed her spiritual energy and sea of qi returning to their normal state. It was as though Wang Jian had used his ability to temporarily suppress her awakened potential. She grasped the implication. Wang Jian was illustrating that he could easily revoke the abilities he had unlocked for her. "Is there a limit to the number of individuals whose abilities you can enhance?" Fairy Minglan inquired. "No, there's no such limit. If I wish, I can activate the latent potential of every member of your faction, allowing your group to surpass sect leader Bai Xia's faction effortlessly," Wang Jian stated confidently. "And you genuinely won't meddle in my leadership of the sect, as long as I continue to obey your commands?" Fairy Minglan sought clarification. "Yes," Wang Jian affirmed calmly. "Then let's establish a contract," Fairy Minglan proposed after careful consideration. "I had a feeling you'd arrive at this decision. You struck me as a wise woman who recognizes the value of seizing opportunities," Wang Jian remarked before advancing toward her. "Before we finalize this contract, can you disclose your identity?" Fairy Minglan inquired curiously. "Once the contract is sealed," Wang Jian replied. "Very well, I agree," Fairy Minglan consented. The Golden Radiance Oath Scroll was presented, and Wang Jian promptly employed his spiritual energy to inscribe all the stipulations onto the parchment. He then handed it to Fairy Minglan to peruse the terms. The scroll contained numerous conditions, and the further she read, the more her brow furrowed in consternation. Eventually, she encountered a clause that ignited her anger. "What in the world? There's a condition here that dictates I must comply with all orders concerning my body." "So what?" Wang Jian responded nonchalantly. Clutching her fists in frustration, Fairy Minglan seethed, "This condition explicitly implies that if you issue any lewd commands, I must obey them as well." "Well, yes," Wang Jian conceded. Then, with a sinister undertone, he added, "Did you truly believe you wouldn't have to sacrifice anything for such an exceptional offer? Let's not forget what you'll gain from this arrangement: position, power, and influence you've long yearned for. So, don't portray this contract as if I'm exploiting you. If anything, it's you who benefit from my abilities through this agreement. Now, decide swiftly. If not you, there are plenty of women in the sect vying for the position of sect leader who would be willing to make the same sacrifice and give up their bodies and purity for their dreams. I'm sure you can think of a few names," Wang Jian stated with a sinister tone. "You trapped me. You first displayed to me your abilities to entice me. Now that I know your abilities are truly real. Because if they aren't real, this contract would lose its binding power over me," Fairy Minglan spoke. "Exactly. The more you talk, the more I'm convinced I made the right choice by approaching you before the sect leader Fairy Bai Xia. From what I understand of her, she's headstrong and somewhat impulsive, prone to acting on emotions rather than reason. But you're different. Even though you're aware of the truth, you'll still sign the contract. That's because you've realized I have multiple options to gain control over the Spirit Affinity sect, whereas you only have this single opportunity to fulfill your dreams in one fell swoop, or they'll remain out of reach for the rest of your life, Wang Jian concluded with a confident and sinister tone. Fairy Minglan desperately wanted to refute Wang Jian's words. She had an urge to rip apart the contract and prove to him that her pride was of utmost importance. However, an inner voice silenced her protests. It reminded her that this sacrifice was a small price to pay for her dreams. With a bitter smile, she dipped her finger in her blood and began to sign the contract. "You're right," she conceded, "I'd rather achieve my dream than let my foolish pride stand in the way." Wang Jian's smile widened at her response. "I knew you'd make the wise choice. Now, as I promised earlier, since you've signed the contract," Wang Jian continued, "I'll reveal my identity." He pulled down his hood and removed his mask. Fairy Minglan couldn't hide her surprise when she saw the handsome face hidden behind the mask. She stammered, "Why, you're Wang Jian, the partner of Bishi Zhuoran." Wang Jian raised an eyebrow, his smirk growing mischievous. "I thought I'd have to introduce myself, but it appears you're already aware." Fairy Minglan quickly composed herself and explained, "It wasn't difficult to guess. Rumors about Bishi Zhuoran's partner being remarkably handsome have circulated widely in the Spirit Affinity sect. Details like your distinctive silver hair and those piercing blue eyes were already common knowledge." She added thoughtfully, "Furthermore, if someone with such extraordinary abilities hailed from the central region, they would have revealed themselves long ago. The fact that you come from the southern region explains why your talents aren't widely known here." "An impressive deduction," Wang Jian replied, his smirk revealing his satisfaction. "But let me correct one thing. This ability I've just revealed to you isn't widely known even in the southern region. I always ensure that those privy to this truth can't leak it. Just like how I have ensured it with you," he added confidently. Fairy Minglan nodded thoughtfully and spoke with seriousness, "I see. So, what's our plan now? Are you going to accompany me back to our camp and enhance the abilities of my faction members?" Wang Jian shook his head, his expression grave. "No, that would raise suspicions. If everyone in your faction suddenly experiences such a dramatic boost, sect leader Fairy Baixia's faction will become suspicious, thinking you provided them with a potent drug or special elixir." Seeing Fairy Minglan about to pose a question, Wang Jian interjected, "I'll enhance your faction members' abilities during their battles with the devils. In the chaos of combat, even if many of them experience a sudden power surge, sect leader Fairy Baixia's faction will likely chalk it up to the life and death circumstances. It's in that crucial moment that I will enhance your abilities and make you significantly stronger than her. When you've reached a sufficient level of strength, challenge the mightiest devils in the devil nest. This act will not only showcase your prowess but also earn the respect of all sect members, even those aligned with Fairy Baixia's faction who are your rivals," Wang Jian concluded. After hearing Wang Jian's comprehensive strategy, a whirlwind of emotions swept through Fairy Minglan. She felt a mixture of shock, excitement, and a tinge of fear. His words filled her with hope and excitement, realizing that her dream of becoming the Spirit Affinity sect leader might not be so distant after all. Yet, beneath this newfound hope, a growing fear simmered. Fairy Minglan now grasped the true extent of Wang Jian's strategic prowess, and it both awed and terrified her. She understood that having Wang Jian as an ally was a blessing, but it also made her acutely aware that having him as an enemy would be a chilling prospect. With this realization, she resolved to do everything within her means to maintain their alliance. After Wang Jian's meeting with Fairy Minglan, he quietly slipped away from the area. In reality, he made his way deep into the ominous devil nest, where the Spirit Affinity sect's experts were planning an attack. There, he rendezvoused with the devils inside of the devil nest, giving them a clear command: "Get ready to put up a fierce fight when those Spirit Affinity sect folks show up." At this point, the most powerful devils in the nest, hailing from the two great devil clans, had been toned down to operate at only 70% of their true strength, all in accordance with Wang Jian's directives. His reasoning? He didn't want the cream of the devilish crop from those clans to meet their end in this clash. It didn't take too long for the Spirit Affinity sect experts to show up at the devil nest, mostly because they could already sense the commotion from the active devilish activity. Sect leader Fairy Baixia didn't waste any time making her intentions clear. Let's wipe out these devils and cleanse our region of their menace. Her statement was met with a resounding chorus of agreement. Meanwhile, Fairy Minglan was a bundle of nerves and excitement. She couldn't help but remember her agreement with Wang Jian from the night before. She hoped he had been truthful and would use his powers to boost her faction's members during their showdown with the devils. Before they knew it, the entire Spirit Affinity sect crew had ventured deep into the devil nest. They wasted no time in cutting down any demon or devil that crossed their path. As they continued their advance, they stumbled upon a huge open area within the devil nest, where a bunch of powerful arrays were etched on the ground and walls. Out of nowhere, a swarm of demons and devils materialized in that very spot. The captains of the two great devil clans led their troops with determined looks in their eyes, charging straight at the Spirit Affinity sect forces. The battle between the Spirit Affinity sect experts and the two great devil clans was in full swing. Both sides were taking heavy losses, but it seemed like the devils were gaining the upper hand. It made sense, really. The devils had activated their battle arrays, giving them a significant edge in combat. As this life and death battle raged on, something remarkable happened. The Spirit Affinity sect members began to experience a sudden growth in their abilities. If you looked closely, you'd see that Fairy Minglan's group was the one making the most gains. Their skills got stronger, and some even saw their cultivation levels go up. Now, Fairy Minglan's transformation was off the charts. Her cultivation jumped from the 6th stage of the Emperor realm to the 8th. Her spiritual energy became denser, about 8 times more potent than before. Her Qi expanded nearly tenfold, and her elemental mastery hit its peak, allowing her to unleash combat skills beyond her wildest dreams. To top it off, her cultivation technique advanced by 2 levels in quick succession. Without needing to glance around, Fairy Minglan knew this was the work of Wang Jian. 7 sit n valb/n. C/m for L test vels. She couldn't be happier and was determined to use her newfound powers to defeat the devils once and for all. As the battle raged on, sect leader Fairy Baixia found herself struggling against one of the captains from the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan. It was a tough fight, and she was having a hard time gaining the upper hand. But then, out of nowhere, Fairy Minglan jumped into the fray. Sect leader Fairy Baixia's initial reaction was to shout, "Step back, Minglan. You'll just get in the way." However, her eyes widened in amazement as she watched Fairy Minglan deliver a powerful strike that severely damaged the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan captain's spirit. Before she knew it, Fairy Minglan had taken charge of the battle, going toe-to-toe with the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan captain. What was truly surprising was that she was dominating the fight. Wait, am I seeing this right? When did Second Elder Ming become this powerful? Sect leader Fairy Baixia couldn't help but wonder aloud. After swiftly defeating the captain of the Nether Curseweaver Devil clan, Fairy Minglan wasted no time and took on the captain from the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil clan. Once again, her newfound abilities made the battle a breeze, and she emerged victorious. As Fairy Minglan displayed her remarkable prowess, the morale of the Spirit Affinity sect's experts soared. They pushed back the devil forces with renewed determination. It didn't take long before the Spirit Affinity sect achieved total victory, wiping out every last demon in the devil nest and obliterating it completely. But the real shocker came after the dust had settled. Fairy Minglan locked eyes with sect leader Fairy Baixia and spoke with a resolute tone. I'm Minglan, the second elder of the Spirit Affinity sect, and I'm declaring my intention to become the sect leader of our esteemed sect. Therefore, I challenge you, the current sect leader, for this position. The news of this challenge spread like wildfire among all the members of the Spirit Affinity sect. Their eyes turned toward sect leader Fairy Baixia, waiting eagerly for her response. With the weight of all those expectant gazes upon her, sect leader Fairy Baixia had no choice but to concede. Very well, I accept your challenge. However, let's schedule the battle for a time when both of us are at the pinnacle of our powers, considering the recent battle with the devils. Agreed, replied Fairy Minglan, her expression unwavering. Sect leader Fairy Baixia visibly relaxed and suggested, let's hold this showdown in our sect's special arena, with all our fellow sect members as witnesses. That's a fantastic idea, said Fairy Minglan confidently, sealing the deal for their impending clash. Following their victory in the Devil Nest, the Spirit Affinity sect wasted no time in gathering all the valuable resources it held. They also severed the connection between the Devil Nest and the Yin Vein, effectively cutting off its source of power. With their preparations in place, they embarked on the ambitious task of constructing a formation that would link the Yin Vein to the celestial nexus Immortal Dominion. However, recognizing that this construction was a time-consuming endeavor, the sect left behind a group of skilled members who possessed the knowledge of building this particular array formation. They also assigned a group of powerful experts to ensure their safety while the main group returned to their sect. Once the Spirit Affinity sect members had returned to their home base, the Heavenly Lotus sect followed suit in their mission to dismantle the Devil Nest. The three factions within the Heavenly Lotus sect united their strongest experts, setting out on a journey toward the Devil Nest within their territory. Their resolve was unwavering as they aimed to eradicate this lingering threat once and for all. Wang Jian didn't need to make any deals with the Heavenly Lotus sect experts, unlike the arrangement he had with Fairy Minglan. But that didn't mean he wasn't cooking up something behind the scenes. He had a rather devious plan in mind, something that would tilt the situation more in his favor. The journey to the Devil Nest was arduous for the experts of the Heavenly Lotus sect. They had prepared meticulously, well aware of the formidable abilities possessed by the devilish forces lurking within. Each member carried with them a selection of holy weapons, specially crafted to counter and suppress the devil force's formidable might. As they ventured deeper into the Devil Nest, the tension hung heavy in the air. The atmosphere was fraught with anticipation, a palpable sense of impending conflict. These skilled martial artists knew they were about to face a relentless adversary, and their resolve burned brightly. The battle that ensued was fierce and chaotic. The devil forces launched wave after wave of relentless attacks, their dark powers clashing violently with the righteous determination of the Heavenly Lotus sect. The clash of energies and weapons reverberated through the once ominous Devil Nest. Amidst the chaos and carnage, a tragic moment unfolded. Sect leader Fairy Ruali, a stalwart figure at the forefront of the Heavenly Lotus sect, met a heart-wrenching demise. A sinister, shadowy sword, one forged from pure darkness, found its mark. With a swift, merciless strike, it cleaved through her, ending her life in a horrifying instant. The sect leader, who had led her sect with unwavering strength, now lay fallen, a symbol of the price they paid in this harrowing battle. But the Heavenly Lotus sect was not one to be easily defeated. Roused by grief and fury, the remaining two leaders of their respective factions within the sect rallied their forces with renewed determination. They carried out a relentless and furious assault against the captains of the devil forces, their strikes guided by vengeance. In the end, they succeeded in avenging sect leader Fairy Ruali, taking down both captains with a display of sheer martial prowess and unwavering resolve. With their hard-fought victory over the devilish forces, the experts of the Heavenly Lotus sect couldn't help but celebrate. The atmosphere was one of relief, mixed with a sense of accomplishment that they had successfully vanquished the threat that had loomed over their territory for so long. Just as the members of the Spirit Affinity sect had done before them, the Heavenly Lotus sect immediately set to work. They focused on disconnecting the Yin vein from the devil nest and proceeded to dismantle the entire accursed place, leaving nothing but ruins in its wake. But their work wasn't finished there. The sect's skilled array masters began constructing an intricate array, one that would link the freed Yin vein to the celestial nexus Immortal Dominion, ensuring that the spiritual energy continued to flow and benefit their sect. Leaving behind these array experts and a select few powerful individuals to protect them, the main force of the sect made their way back to their home base. It was there that they would make one of the most significant decisions their sect could face, choosing their next sect leader. The Heavenly Lotus sect now had two prominent factions vying for leadership, each with their own vision for the sect's future. The first faction was led by the third elder, Fairy Ji Lian, and the other by the fifth elder, Fairy Qian Shui. Amidst these factions, a third group consisted of remnants from sect leader Fairy Ruoli's faction, still finding their place in the sect's shifting dynamics. Phi ddeu upts on n.o.v/e/ln.com. The fate of the sect hung in the balance as they prepared for the internal competition, where only the elders would have the chance to participate and prove their worth as potential leaders. The choice they made would shape the path the Heavenly Lotus sect would tread in the uncertain days ahead. Around this pivotal moment, Wang Jian made use of the telephone artifact to reach out simultaneously to both the third elder, Fairy Ji Lian, and the fifth elder, Fairy Qian Shui. He had a simple yet significant request: would it be possible for me to attend and witness this competition? It wasn't a simple request, though. Both the third elder and the fifth elder held a deep admiration for Wang Jian, stemming from his brave act of risking his life to save them and their followers. This profound sense of gratitude and respect made them more than willing to consider his request. Additionally, the former sect leader, who would have been staunchly against Wang Jian's presence in the Heavenly Lotus sect, was no longer in the picture. With their own factions now reigning as the strongest within the sect, they felt it was entirely reasonable to welcome Wang Jian. Their responses came readily, carrying a tone of genuine warmth and openness. Third Elder Fairy Ji Lian expressed, "It would truly be our honor to have you join us in witnessing this internal competition and rigorous trials, through which we'll determine the next sect leader." Fifth Elder Fairy Qian Shui chimed in, "Indeed, Emperor Wang. Even if another elder assumes the role of sect leader, we will ensure that they establish a rule to make you an exception, allowing you entry into the Heavenly Lotus sect from this point forward." This exchange reflected their level of respect for Wang Jian. With heartfelt thanks, Wang Jian conveyed his appreciation to the third elder, Fairy Ji Lian, and the fifth elder, Fairy Qian Shui, through the telephone artifact before disconnecting this call. The much-anticipated day dawned, heralding Wang Jian's arrival at the Heavenly Lotus sect as an esteemed guest. His purpose, to bear witness to the imminent internal competition, a momentous event that would not only showcase the sect's martial prowess but also determine the identity of the next sect leader. Amidst the preparations and buzz of the upcoming competition, Wang Jian found precious moments to reunite with Han Shifeng. Their connection had grown even deeper, and they indulged in passionate, intimate moments together, savoring the depth of their affection within the bustling sect. As the fateful day approached, a sense of both excitement and tension enveloped the Heavenly Lotus sect. It was on the horizon, the beginning of the internal competition and its arduous trials that would ultimately decide the sect leader who would guide the sect ahead. The sect had meticulously planned a series of trials to challenge its elders, each trial bearing a distinctive name and purpose. Trial of Elemental Mastery. Elder members showcased their mastery over in one of the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, lightning, and wind, in a series of elemental duels. They unleashed torrents of water, blazes of fire, and manipulated the very earth beneath their feet. Trial of Celestial Endurance. In this grueling test, elders endured extreme conditions, pushing their physical and mental limits. They faced raging storms, scorching heat, and bone-chilling cold, displaying their resilience and unwavering resolve. Trial of Ethereal Insights. a powerful and rare mystical art was presented before the elders. The elders had 1 hour to observe it and then 1 entire day to practice it. The elder whose technique performs above a threshold level would be considered to have passed this trial. Trial of harmonious balance, elders engaged in a complex dance of combat and coordination, demonstrating their ability to work seamlessly as a team. They fought in unison, their movements harmonizing like a well-orchestrated symphony. Trial of ancient wisdom, elders were tested on their knowledge of ancient scriptures and martial techniques, with questions and challenges that spanned the vast tapestry of the sect's history. The competition unfolded over several days, with each trial testing different aspects of the elders' skills and wisdom. The competitors displayed remarkable martial prowess, keen intellect, and indomitable spirit, leaving spectators in awe of their dedication to the sect. As the trials culminated, 2 elders emerged as frontrunners, 3rd Elder Fairy Jilian and 5th Elder Fairy Qian Shui. Their performances had been nothing short of exceptional, and it was clear that the final showdown would be between these 2 formidable contenders. The day of the internal competition arrived, and the sect members gathered with bated breath. The stage was set for an intense battle between the 3rd and 5th elders. Their match was a breathtaking display of martial arts, each move calculated and precise. The 2 elders sparred with unwavering determination, pushing themselves to the limit. In the end, it was 5th Elder Fairy Qian Shui who emerged victorious, her martial skills and strategic acumen proving unmatched. With grace and humility, she accepted the mantle of sect leader, pledging to guide the Heavenly Lotus sect into a new era of prosperity and honor. The Heavenly Lotus sect celebrated its new leader, recognizing the wisdom and strength of their new sect leader, Fairy Qian Shui. Wang Jian, the esteemed guest and a man that both Fairy Qian Shui and Fairy Ji Luan held in high regard, came forward to offer his heartfelt congratulations. "Congratulations, Fairy Qian Shui," he began, his voice sincere and warm. "Your victory is well-deserved, and I have no doubt you will lead the Heavenly Lotus sect to even greater heights." Fairy Ji Lian, who had shown remarkable strength and grace throughout the trials, was not forgotten. Wang Jian turned to her and praised her efforts. "Fairy Ji Lian, your dedication and skills have been truly remarkable. You've showcased the strength of the Heavenly Lotus sect admirably." With genuine enthusiasm, Wang Jian continued, "I would like to extend an invitation to both of you, sect leader Fairy Qian Shui and 3rd Elder Fairy Ji Lian, to visit my empire. I believe a strong alliance between your sect and my empire could be mutually beneficial." Fairy Qian Shui and Fairy Ji Lian exchanged knowing glances and nodded in agreement. "We appreciate your offer, Wang Jian," Fairy Qian Shui replied. "And we accept your proposition, and we look forward to forging a prosperous alliance." The joyous occasion continued with a grand banquet, where all the members of the Heavenly Lotus sect, from disciples to elders, gathered to celebrate. Exotic dishes and rare wines from the sect's coffers adorned the tables, and the atmosphere was one of merriment and camaraderie. In the midst of this festive gathering, Wang Jian found himself in a unique position. As the only man in an all-female sect like the Heavenly Lotus sect, he reveled in the joy of the moment, relishing the company and hospitality of the sect's members. It was a rare and delightful experience for him, one that added to the vibrant tapestry of the day's celebrations. Amidst the lively banquet, Wang Jian engaged in conversations, shared laughter, and enjoyed the sumptuous feast laid before him. Han Shifeng introduced him to all the beauties who were close to her, and all these beauties welcomed him with open arms. As the night wore on, the atmosphere grew more relaxed, and Wang Jian's presence only added to the joyous occasion. It was a night to remember, a celebration of victory, unity, and new beginnings. The alliance between the Heavenly Lotus sect and Wang Jian's empire held promise for a brighter future. During the weeks that followed the climactic events within the Heavenly Lotus sect, an unexpected turn of events unfolded. The peaceful period leading up to the battle for the sect leader of the Spirit Affinity sect was disrupted by a series of startling events. Wang Jian received shocking news that sent ripples of concern through his mind. The forces of the devils, whom he had orchestrated to act with calculated precision, had taken an abrupt and unforeseen action. To his bewilderment, it was not his trusted Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan or the formidable Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan that were responsible for this upheaval. Instead, it was the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil Clan that had launched a series of aggressive assaults. Even more confounding was the alliance they had forged with the Heavenly Azura Devil Clan, a development that threatened to upset the delicate balance of power. These unforeseen attacks had grave consequences. The Wind Cloud House, which had previously promised to prevent dwarven shipments from reaching the barbarian race in the southern region, found themselves unable to fulfill their commitment. The unforeseen turmoil had disrupted the carefully laid plans, casting a shadow of uncertainty over the unfolding events. In the wake of the unexpected attacks orchestrated by the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil Clan and their alliance with the Heavenly Azura Devil Clan, Wang Jian's astute mind worked tirelessly to decipher the enigma before him. The involvement of the Heavenly Azura Devil Clan led him to a singular conclusion: Jiang Qin, the elusive mastermind, was the likely orchestrator behind this intricate plot. However, as Wang Jian delved deeper into the perplexing puzzle, he found himself grappling with a question that defied easy answers. Why would Jiang Qin target the Wind Cloud House, he pondered. The sect, while formidable in its own right, did not stand out as a prime adversary capable of threatening the devils. Their strength lay primarily in their mastery of wind elemental techniques. Yet, as he turned the pieces of the puzzle over in his mind, a more nuanced picture began to emerge. It dawned on Wang Jian that perhaps the Wind Cloud House itself was not the primary target of Jiang Qin's aggression. Instead, a different, more sinister motive came to the forefront of his thoughts. There's a possibility, Wang Jian mused, that Jiang Qin was aware of my dealings with the Wind Cloud House. He must have known that targeting them would result in the unhindered passage of the dwarven shipments to the southern region. As he grappled with this revelation, Wang Jian couldn't help but wonder about the ultimate goal of Jiang Qin's actions. But why target the southern region, he questioned, the answer remaining frustratingly elusive. No matter how he examined the situation, the motives behind these orchestrated attacks remained shrouded in mystery. As Wang Jian grappled with the intricate web of challenges and adversaries that now confronted him, his thoughts delved deeper into the complexities of his predicament. The Emperor Realm experts of both the Blue Moon Eclipse Devil Clan and the Nether Curseweaver Devil Clan were currently in a state of recovery, their formidable powers temporarily out of reach. The timing couldn't be worse, Wang Jian contemplated. If only they were at full strength, I could have commanded them to intervene and thwart the schemes of the Heavenly Azura Devil Clan and the Oceanic Tempest Storm Devil Clan. However, the reality was stark. Wang Jian found himself in a precarious position with limited options at his disposal. He faced a crucial decision: should he divert his attention to deal with the relentless devil forces, or should he prioritize preventing the dwarven weapons from reaching the barbarian race, potentially inciting chaos in the southern region? Once Fairy Minglan ascends to the position of sect leader, Wang Jian resolved with a determined expression, I must continue my journey to the northern region. There, I shall seek out and capture a few skilled dwarves proficient in talismans and formations. Only then can I address this intricate problem at its very source. With a plan in place, Wang Jian fortified his resolve, recognizing that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges and intricacies that demanded careful consideration and strategic maneuvering. Nearly a month had elapsed since the enigmatic events that had transpired in the Heavenly Lotus sect. During this time, the Spirit Affinity sect had been bustling with preparations and anticipation. The day had finally arrived when Fairy Minglan would face off against sect leader Fairy Baixia in a fierce battle for control over the sect. In the weeks leading up to the showdown, sect leader Fairy Baixia had dedicated herself to rigorous training. Her every waking moment was consumed by strenuous exercises and combat drills. She sought to elevate her combat prowess to its zenith, consuming exotic and rare fruits known to enhance martial strength. Meanwhile, Fairy Minglan had taken a different approach. Rather than pushing herself to the limit, she spent the month acclimating herself to the newfound strength bestowed upon her. Her cultivation had experienced an astounding leap, and she needed time to harness and refine her newfound power. The day of reckoning dawned, and the entire Spirit Affinity sect buzzed with anticipation. The battle was to be held in the heart of the sect, a sprawling arena designed for martial contests. Every member of the sect, from the most senior elders to the youngest disciples, took their seats, their eyes fixed on the arena where destiny would unfold. As the sun climbed to its zenith, the tension in the air was palpable. The clash of power and the pursuit of leadership hung heavy. Sect leader Fairy Baixia and Fairy Minglan stood at opposite ends of the arena, their expressions stoic yet determined. With the signal to begin, the battle ignited. Sect leader Fairy Baixia launched the first attack, her movements swift and precise. Her training had honed her skills to a razor's edge, and she aimed to defend her position as sect leader with unwavering resolve. Fairy Minglan, however, had a serene confidence about her. She evaded sect leader Fairy Baixia's strikes with grace and fluidity, her movements appearing effortless. With each passing moment, her strength became more apparent, a testament to her diligent preparation. The hours stretched into an entire day of relentless combat. The arena echoed with the clashing of techniques and the resonance of elemental forces. Both combatants showed remarkable resilience, refusing to yield to the other's will. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the arena was bathed in the soft glow of twilight. Fatigue weighed heavily on both fighters, but their determination remained unshaken. Fairy Minglan's attacks became more precise, her movements calculated, and the tide of battle began to shift. In a climactic moment, Fairy Minglan executed a devastating technique, her elemental prowess reaching its peak. Sect leader Fairy Baixia, despite her valiant efforts, could not withstand the onslaught. With a final, resounding strike, Fairy Minglan emerged victorious. The arena fell into a hushed silence as the reality of the outcome sank in. Sect leader Fairy Baixia, though defeated, bore no trace of bitterness. She extended her hand to Fairy Minglan in a gesture of respect and acceptance. The transfer of leadership had occurred, not through force alone, but with honor and dignity. Fairy Minglan, now the new sect leader of the Spirit Affinity sect, accepted the gesture and the responsibility it symbolized. With grace, she addressed the assembled members of the sect. I pledge to lead our sect with wisdom and compassion, to uphold our traditions, and to guide us to even greater heights. A wave of applause and approval erupted from the sect's members. The future of the Spirit Affinity sect had taken a new direction, and it was a path paved with promise and potential. The events of that day marked a turning point, not only for the sect but for the entire region. The leadership of Fairy Minglan held the promise of change and growth, while the legacy of sect leader Fairy Baixia remained a source of inspiration. As the sun set on this chapter of the Spirit Affinity sect's history, the future remained uncertain but filled with boundless opportunities. Read the latest stories and novilbin.com. The members of the sect looked ahead with hope, their spirits lifted by the indomitable strength and leadership that had emerged from their midst. Upon ascending to the position of sect leader, Fairy Minglan wasted no time in enacting her first rule, a testament to her compassion and empathy. She declared that Lady Heroines should be granted the freedom to leave the Spirit Affinity sect and reunite with her beloved partner, Wang Jian. Her reasoning was clear: it would be unjust and inhumane to confine Lady Heroines within the sect against her heartfelt desires. In response, Lady Heroines, displaying a heart full of gratitude, conveyed her deep appreciation for the Spirit Affinity sect. She assured everyone that her departure was not a farewell but a temporary absence driven by the longing for her beloved. She expressed her heartfelt thanks to the new sect leader for this newfound opportunity, promising to return to the sect in due time. However, not everyone in the sect welcomed this ruling with open arms. The faction loyal to Fairy by Xia voiced their displeasure, but their objections were ultimately in vain. The overwhelming majority of sect members rallied behind Fairy Minglan's compassionate decree. As for Han Shifeng, the transition was relatively simple. With Fairy Qianshui now at the helm of the Heavenly Lotus sect, she found it easy to leave the confines of her sect and embrace her journey alongside Wang Jian. Thus, Wang Jian and his 4 women departed from the Wind Cloud House on the 7 wyverns while staying inside a luxurious caravan that was placed on the back of a wyvern. As Wang Jian and his group of 4 women embarked on their journey towards the northern region, their objectives were clear: abduct talented dwarves and transport them to the southern region. The task ahead was challenging, but they were determined to succeed. While on the road, Wang Jian maintained communication with sect leader Fairy Minglan of the Spirit Affinity sect. He entrusted her with the critical mission of supporting the Wind Cloud House in their battle against the devil forces and preventing the dwarven shipments from reaching the southern region. With her unwavering loyalty and newfound leadership, Fairy Minglan embraced the task, understanding the gravity of the situation. Simultaneously, Wang Jian reached out to sect leader Fairy Qianshui of the Heavenly Lotus sect with the same request. He knew that the combined might of 3 sects would be a formidable force, capable of achieving their objectives and safeguarding the southern region from potential threats. United by a common goal and driven by their commitment to protect their home, the 3 sects rallied their forces and engaged in the battle against the devils. Their coordinated efforts ensured that the devil forces faced strong opposition and were unable to advance. The dwarven shipments were effectively intercepted and rerouted, preventing them from reaching the southern region. During their journey towards the northern region, Wang Jian found solace and delight in the company of his 4 beloved women, Luo Qiu, Yen Niu, Lady Zhuoran, and Han Shifeng. The caravan, carried by majestic wyverns, provided a secluded haven for their intimacy. Within the cozy confines of the caravan, passionate moments unfolded. Wang Jian and his 4 companions engaged in intense and affectionate lovemaking. The familiarity of their touch, the shared desires, and the longing to be together after a period of separation fueled their fervor. It had been a considerable span of time since they had all been together in such an intimate manner, and the emotions and pent-up desires that had accumulated during their separation found their release in this shared passion of lovemaking. The atmosphere inside the caravan was charged with intensity as they reveled in their love and desire for each other. Wang Jian's attentiveness ensured that each of his women received the care and affection they deserved. Their passions intertwined, creating moments of ecstasy and connection that strengthened their bond as a group. As the caravan journeyed on, time seemed to slip away unnoticed in the embrace of their shared love and passion. While Wang Jian and his group continued their passionate journey towards the northern region, a significant event unfolded in the eastern seas, an event that held the potential to shift the balance of power in the region. Humans had embarked on a mission to reclaim territories that had long been under the command of the sea monsters, thanks in part to the support of the ethereal Mirage Immortal Sanctuary. The Earth Veins, a valuable resource, lay at the heart of this conflict. Its capture by the sea monsters had been a source of concern for the human empires for a considerable time. The involvement of the ethereal Mirage Immortal Sanctuary breathed new hope into their efforts to regain control of this essential resource. As the battle raged on, it became clear that it had reached a stalemate. The sea monsters, bolstered by an emerging power faction from the depths of the ocean, managed to counter the strategies and abilities of the ethereal Mirage Immortal Sanctuary to some extent. This development added an element of unpredictability to the conflict, creating a precarious situation in which both sides vied for dominance over the regions that held Earth Veins. As the conflict in the eastern seas continued, the influence of the sea monsters began to seep into the heart of the central region of the continent. What was once a distant problem now posed a growing threat to the stability of the entire land. However, the sea monsters didn't act alone in their expansion. They formed an alliance with the Dwarven race, a race known for its advanced technology and deep knowledge of inscriptions, talismans, and battle formations. With these unique skills, the dwarves proved invaluable allies to the sea monsters in their efforts to spread their influence. The dwarves adopted a cunning strategy to entice and tempt various sects in the central region. They offered their technological prowess and intricate knowledge to these sects, knowing that such alliances could bolster the sea monsters' power and influence and undermine the rule of humans. This partnership provided the sea monsters with not only military support but also an alliance that reached into the heart of the continent. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing for the sea monsters and their dwarven allies. The strongest sects, particularly those residing within the immortal dominions, refused to be swayed by the allure of advanced technology or the entreaties of the dwarves. Their power and independence remained steadfast, and they remained uninvolved in the escalating conflict. On the other hand, smaller sects and those of medium rank, situated outside of the immortal dominions, were more willing to take risks. Up to dfrm no/v/e/lb in.co/m. This was all because the regulations imposed by the Heavenly Court over the 10 great sects that resided within the immortal dominions were strict and left little room for collaboration with other races, such as the dwarves or the sea monsters. Smaller sects, however, enjoyed greater freedom, allowing them to explore such alliances without fear of heavy restrictions. In this evolving landscape, the central region found itself at a crossroads. The conflict in the eastern seas was no longer an isolated concern but had become a multifaceted issue, with alliances forming and tensions rising. As the sea monsters continued to expand their influence into the central region, another unexpected front of the conflict emerged in the western deserts. Two human empires from this arid expanse surprisingly sided with the sea monsters and the smaller sects against the 10 great sects of the central region. It was a bewildering turn of events that left many questioning the motives behind this alliance. The people of the central region watched in shock as their western neighbors, who had previously shown little interest in their affairs, now actively supported their rivals. It was clear that this alliance was not born out of a desire for the greater good. Instead, it was a carefully orchestrated scheme led by someone who sought to weaken the control of the 10 great sects and the Heavenly Court. Unfortunately, they had no idea that this individual was Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen's ultimate goal was to create chaos within the central region. As the 10 great sects struggled to maintain their dominance and control, he aimed to have his devil race capitalize on this turbulence. They planned to seize the precious Yin veins, Yang veins, and Earth veins currently under the control of the 10 great sects. This strategic move would not only weaken the sects but also cripple the authority of the Heavenly Court, paving the way for Jiang Chen's devil race to establish a significant presence in the central region. It was a complex and ambitious plan that sought to exploit the division and discord sown among the sects and empires, ultimately serving the interests of the devil race. In the southern region, where the coalition of human empires had been watching the developments in the central region with growing concern, there was a strong desire to intervene in the ongoing conflict. The situation was undoubtedly chaotic and posed a significant threat to the stability of the entire continent. However, the leader of this coalition, the everlasting mystical empire, made a firm decision to refrain from immediate intervention. It was a choice that raised eyebrows and prompted questions among the other member empires, but there was a reason behind this restraint. The everlasting mystical empire, through careful assessment, had concluded that rushing into the ongoing conflict in the central region would only result in substantial losses. The situation there was intricate, with alliances shifting and external forces complicating matters. Interfering at that moment would likely lead to the coalition suffering great casualties, and this was a scenario they aimed to avoid. Their primary concern in the southern region remained the barbarian race, a formidable adversary that had kept the human empires on the defensive. The barbarian race possessed a well-protected immortal dominion, making it impervious to external attacks. Even the most powerful Saint Realm cultivators dared not approach this stronghold with the hope of returning alive. The frustration among the human empires in the southern region was palpable. While they yearned to take the offensive against the barbarian race and eliminate this constant threat, they were constrained by the formidable defenses of the barbarians' immortal dominion. It was a situation that had persisted for far too long, leaving them in a defensive posture. Actually, it was this extreme power of the immortal dominion that Wang Jian had been forced to think deeply about a countermeasure against it. This was also one of the reasons why he spent so much time in Celestial Nexus Immortal Dominion, as he had been trying to think of ways to deal with such a thing. Unfortunately, even his system remained helpless against it, as it mentioned that his cultivation was insufficient. Well, that's all for this part, trekkers. See you all in the next video.